Welcome to 2024, viewers and listeners. Cricket, big cricket episode. This one on the pod. Australia sweep Pakistan, but not without a good fight from the tourists. They really stuck it to us in Melbourne, and there was a stage there where you could have been a little bit worried in Sydney. It was David Warner's last test. How good is Paddy Cummins? And Amir Jamal announcing himself on the world stage. Shortest test ever between India and South Africa at the Newlands, plus a bit of Big Bash, and only 10 days until the Windies in Adelaide. NFL Week 18 is upon us. There's some games that have essentially been early playoff games and some to happen tomorrow. The Ravens have the 1 seed wrapped up. Lamar pretty much the MVP. Pro Bowl teams named and college football finals. Over in the NBA, the Pistons equal the losing records, but don't get it. They don't get the 29th, so they'll share that with the 76ers. Celtics haven't lost at home. Embiid always scores 30. And are the Grizzlies good with Ja? Little bit of soccer, some EPL over New Year's. Asian Cup starts next week. Tiny bit of footy into a final round that's a little light on biffs and revs, unless you've just been at Summer Nats, and then I assume you've probably got a bit of both up your sleeve over the weekend. Plus, golf is back for the year, and the Australian Open is around the corner in the tennis. This is On The Esky, an Aussie sports podcast. We like our US sports. We like our Aussie sports. We like to have a bit of a laugh and a dribble. We do have timestamps. You can skip to the sports that you like and check us out on the socials. We have 3 on the table today. Welcome back to the fastest research man in the ACT. He's been on paternity leave for the last 3 months, and I just checked, confirmed not on Epstein's list.
No, probably a little bit young for that, but
oh, you got the other way,
You've been smuggled over there.
wrong list.
No, wasn't hanging out with Clinton and Hawking and the like. No. Just been looking after a little baby. How's that been?
Yes, just newborn little baby girl. Yeah, it's been great.
Getting much sleep?
No, not much sleep.
Nice and honest at least.
Yeah. I never usually get much sleep anyway. No, it's been great. Been a nice few months off, just watching her grow. Good to hopefully get stuck back into the poddy a little bit more regularly now.
We've missed you. There's been some times when I've been trying to talk and frantically Google search at the same time, and can confirm men can't multitask, so it's good to see you back. We do like to start the show by shouting a beer.
Yeah.
This one, we're going to need 2 alcohol-free beers, I think, for this. Mine's going to be a 0. So, who are you shouting?
Yeah. So I'm shouting Luke Littler a beer, or albeit probably 0.
You know, one of these.
That's it.
New year, new me.
That being said, the sport that he plays, I'm sure he would have seen his fair share of pubs anyway. Being
so he probably grew up in them.
probably. So Luke Littler, he's a 16-year-old darts player who made it all the way through the World Dart Championship, bowed out in the finals, but 16-year-old just absolutely smashing world champs left, right and centre. Was up in the best of 13 sets in the finals against Luke Humphries, who's the current world champion. But yeah.
So how good can he be if he's only 16 now? Surely you don't hit your darts prime until you're 30.
I don't know. I mean, muscle memory. You guys tell me.
I also think darts is one of those games where you might be better after a couple of schooners.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. What happens when he hits on the gold nail?
That is true.
It's actually, it ruins most people's sporting careers. And darts, it might actually
just favourable.
Yeah, it's going to be the Bradman of darts.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's just kind of got the limelight on him at the moment. Throughout the comp, he had celebrities like such as David Beckham tweeting him or DMing him, congratulating him and spurring him on. I think he pocketed around about £200,000 as part of the competition. Would have made 500 if he had won it all. Yep. Probably huge prop to him. I think he's got an invitational to the Premier League in darts up against all the other world champions.
That's kicking ass.
Yeah.
Let's hope he's under a certain age where he doesn't have to file a tax return on that. So,
do you pay tax as a 16-year-old? I assume you do.
But having seen some pictures of him, they might need to check the birth certificate.
Yeah.
He's a big lad. He's got a bit of fuzz. So
Like that Dominican baseball player
Yes.
on that Benchwarmers movie, smoking a dart, and he's got a full goatee.
That's it. His training regime does include a kebab every day of the week, so
That's aged him
that's
horrendously.
that's probably contributed a little bit to his physique. But I mean, it's perfect darts player
darts
physique.
physique,
So
yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Very good. Luke Littler, enjoy your alcohol-free beverage courtesy of the Esky. Shauno, happy 2024. How are you?
very good, thank you.
Who are you shouting a beer?
I'm going with Jerry the Kid, or Jersey Jerry as he's known. Barstool Sports, if you're familiar with that. He spent in the last couple of days. He spent most of it live streaming him trying to get a hole in one, and he went
In a golf sim.
in a golf sim,
Golf sim,
of course, at the headquarters there for Barstool Sports. So he hit over 2,600 strokes on this particular hole.
And then he started playing golf.
Yeah. Well,
Pre-game.
there were a few jokes about that because he made it through the first day, he didn't get the hole in one, and then of course he did the live stream with him sleeping through the night, and the jokes, of course, in the chat was there might be a few extra strokes being added to that counter. so
It's been done. It's been done.
Well, hanging fruit. But on the second day, a couple of hours in, he managed to finally do it and get his hole in one. So.
That's it.
Yeah, and then across all the kind of golfers and the celebrities who were tuning into that for the event.
Yep. I think
same
PGA.
praise. PGA
Tweeted
him. I think the course actually wanted to make it official that they'll recognise it as a legitimate hole in one at their course because he was playing their course on the sim. So yeah, pretty impressive for them. Dude, that of course can delete a beer, so he probably doesn't need any. But for a semi-sporting event, that was my shout of beer for the last week.
Yeah.
It actually seems pretty quick. Like 2,600. I reckon you could add a few more zeros to that.
Yeah.
How many trials?
It's interesting because he was playing. He might have played a couple of different holes, but I think there was one hole that was playing like
Predominantly, it was a par. I think it was a par
Yeah.
3. I was trying to confirm an actual hole for you.
Yeah. Why do you do that? I think I was watching some of the highlights. There was one shot he had at like I think it was 2,400 where it was like an inch away from the hole.
Really?
Yeah,
So,
he had a couple
just-
that finished really close, and then
Yeah.
then it kind of went through the first day, and they're like, not sure how long this is going to take, but eventually got it.
37 hours total. That's not bad. I don't think if you gave me 37 hours, I'm putting it in. There you
Yeah, I
go.
don't know.
Jerry the Kid, enjoy your beer.
Can't quickly get the course for you.
That's right. You can come back to it in a second. I'm going to shout another zero. I assume this guy doesn't get on the full strengths. But Amir Jamal, he was a revelation for the Pakistanis down under on this tour. After Perth, we thought, oh gosh, we might have a few short tests, and the tourists put up a real fight. I tell you what, if they could field, they probably win a test, maybe two. But Amir Jamal, he took 18 wickets in his first 3 test matches, averaging 19 with the ball. He showed that he can bat as well, including that very frustrating near 100-run partnership for the 10th in the first innings in Sydney. And he was a big part of keeping Pakistan well and truly alive during this test series, which we will discuss in just a moment. So enjoy your Heineken Zero, courtesy of the Esky Amir Jamal, on a stellar start to your career.
Pebble Beach, hole number 7.
Pebble Beach. Oh, very nice. We would have paid a fair bit of money if he's playing that for real. Tell you that much.
2 full days. We'll get the hole for himself.
There you go. The 7th at Pebble Beach. Mop of the week, where the first one for 2024. You can check out the last vid if you want to see our mop of 2023 at Victorian Government. But this one is stateside. Shauno, do you want to run us through the story of David Tepper?
Yeah, David Tepper, the Panthers owner, Carolina Panthers that is, well known as a billionaire, with yet another...
Multi-billionaire.
Yes, we looked that up. Panthers have had a terrible year.
Won 2 games.
Continued against the Jaguars last week, where they essentially got hammered. I think it was 26-0 or 26 with a couple. Like it was, Jags blew them out essentially. So obviously the Jags fans were giving the owner plenty in the owner's box to the point where he lost his cool and threw his drink over a particular fan that was there in the crowd. So the NFL said that was a no-no and fined him $300K for doing so.
Which seems a little excessive, I thought. And then, if I have threw a drink at someone and copped 300 grand, I thought, oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, that's pretty steep.
Yeah.
But then when you were doing the maths, it's less than 0.01%
of his net worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, with his estimate, I think at 2.6 billion. So that's like
Still
a five.
300 grand.
Yeah, that's about a fiver for us. So
Yeah.
it's
Maybe a 10 if you're up on the fancy side of Huggernon.
Yeah, so if I were to throw a beer on a fan, I think most people would do that. So yeah, bit of a slap of the wrist there, but
Does anyone know what was actually said?
No, I don't think there's any confirmation of what has been said. Some remarks I think have been coming out about now he's now the worst owner in NFL, taking over from Dan Snyder, who's now gone. And with the recent kind of rumours that he essentially wants to make himself the GM, and any new head coach, because they've got to look for one that goes there, might be a puppet essentially, and not have much say on the actual football operations and the football team he gets to coach. So
Just give us
seems
some
like
money.
seemed like a shit show. So
Anything else from the story there, mate?
No, not really. They just mentioned that's kind of reminiscent of the 2009 incident with the Tennessee Titans owner Bud Adams, who was fined $250 grand for flipping off a Buffalo's fan.
What are you going? $250 for flipping off, or $300? I'd rather pay the extra $50 grand and actually to throw the drink on someone for mine.
He was flipping them off celebrating a win. So would you rather the win or the loss?
Yeah, that is true.
yeah. Plus inflation, I think it works out to be about the same fine.
probably.
So
Probably worse.
probably worse for a flip off. Yeah. So
That's it.
250 grand 9 years ago is probably like $3 million. Fucking inflation that I've seen. Anyways, enjoy the first mop of the year, David Tepper. All right, Marks, it's good to have you back. I don't have to use my fingers
press the button.
to press buttons, that is.
Make sure you press it.
Australia, Pakistan, pink test. Good turnout in Sydney. We're getting stuck into the Western Australians. Now, caveat, I suppose, it is in the new year. A lot of people not back at work. Bigger population, smaller ground, all of that probably needs to be factored in. But anyways, David Warner's last test and all the commotion beforehand was about a lost baggy green. Now, was it lost, or did he do the old, Mum, I've looked and I can't fucking find it anywhere?
It's right where you left it.
It's right underneath your other baggy green there, David.
Yeah.
I like that he's putting the Mickey on either Qantas or some sort of baggage handler, and then Chappelle Corby from the top rope. Getting the comment of 2024 in the first week. How good. Check that out if you haven't seen
funny.
that. But all is well. Cap has been returned. Very sentimental.
Yeah, they found the backpack in the team hotel with all the other team baggage. So
much ado about nothing in there.
Yeah, much ado about nothing. A few good Mitchell Johnson memes came out of it as well. But
I like that Mitchell Johnson, the baggage handler. Very easy to do these days. A little bit of Photoshop.
Just a little bit.
So I think you said it, Peps. It ended up being about nothing, and it seems more likely that David may have misplaced it and not checked his bags well enough, or not checked around all the other bags, and then it's found with all the other shit that probably came with the team travelling. So.
And I'm not going to throw out that outrageous allegation because, and my wife could attest to this, if I've looked for something for 2 minutes, I'm posting a video to my 8.6 million followers to say, "Oi, someone fucking stole it, give it back," before I have a good look and check everywhere.
Yep.
Anyways, he's got it back. It's good. No changes to the Aussie team. Pakistan, a few interesting little moves here. So Shane Shah-Afridi bowled 54 overs in Melbourne. His pace has been down this series.
Still coming back.
Well documented. And essentially, dead rubber. They said, have a rest, mate. Get yourself right for T20 cricket upcoming. We'll talk a little bit about that in regards to South Africa shortly. So they finally bring in a specialist spinner, Sajid Khan. He played okay. And at the top of the order, they drop Imam ul Haq. I actually thought Abdullah Shafiq head might have been on the chopping block, and he didn't do very well in this test either. To bring in 21-year-old Saeem Ayub. Yes. A few quackers to start off. 2 for 4. I think I texted you boys. Looking forward to the two-day test. Ha, ha, ha. I was obviously talking about South Africa, India.
Yeah. Of course.
Not this one. And we really had him up shit creek when Rizwan and Salman had a really nice partnership. They went in at 5 for 96. And Rizwan, again, why wasn't he picked in the first test?
I don't know.
He's so much better than Sarfaraz.
Yeah, he's He's very, very good. So, yeah.
88, pretty unlucky not to go on with that. And then the most annoying partnership I think I've witnessed in a long, long time. It was Wednesday. It was my first day back at work. All I wanted to do was just race home and try and get the last session in. And I watched a tail opener and a number 9 who's played 3 tests, score 86 for the 10th wicket. I thought this might have been pretty good for Pakistani Test history. No, Mushtaq Ahmed and Azhar Mahmood. As my father used to say, how's your Mahmood? Regarding me as a 7-year-old, probably up and down, I would have felt. They had 151 for the 10th, what's that, 26 years ago. So, anyways, 86 looked like this might have been the difference in the Test match.
It was a bit of coming, as you said, you shout a beer for Jamal coming in and this is his coming out test, essentially, playing very well against Australia in Sydney. But like you said, it was a very, very annoying considering where they had them. I just felt like the Australians thought they were going to get through them quickly and then kind of lost their way a little bit. And then, the ball kind of lost all its hardness and they lost a bit of pace. And then the Pakistanis just got comfortable and confident and put on the runs.
Probably looked like the best period for batting was end of day 1.
I agree.
So, not to take away from the tailenders, but maybe the
kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Because there was a fair bit in the pitch in the following days.
The first 10 overs, it was very well bounced. It was going sideways. So, unlucky. Who'd want to be an opener? Yeah. Pat Cummins, as aforementioned, 5 for 61, 3 consecutive Michelle Pfeiffers. He's averaged 11 with the ball this series.
Elite numbers.
Don't know, a bit of mayo from Mike. I think Michael Vaughan said he might be our best cricketer since Bradman. I think there's a bloke with 708 Test wickets who might object to that. Maybe a guy called Punter. I don't know. Even a guy called McGrath. Maybe. But he's definitely on a trajectory. If he finishes with 550 wickets at low 20s, conversation.
Yeah, imagine if he'd been healthy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, he might have worn wickets with, if he'd played those years between 18 and 22. Maybe we would be, really starting to talk about not just a generational player, one of the best fast bowlers of all time.
Extra wickets.
Anyways, still a very, very good cricket player. That is for sure.
Pretty handsome as well.
Very good looking. Some people get it all, don't they? Into our innings, biggest. Probably over of the tests in some regards. Warner having to go out and face Sajid Khan for an over at the end of day 1. I was nervous for him.
And it ended up being a bee's dick. With the ball bouncing over
his stumps. That's right.
Just missing.
So, really close to an anticlimactic first innings for him. He did live to see day 2. Sort of laboured for his 34. Big sort of ovation as he went off. There was the off chance that was his last knock. And then the lighter meter.
The lack of.
Yeah, they didn't have one or it wasn't working or...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Went with gut feel. Seemed like they had plenty of light to me.
After Boxing Day, the third umpire gets stuck in the lift and now, we need some sort of special instrument to say, is that big fucking hot thing up in the sky high enough? It seems... very unusual for 2024.
There were, of course, caveat. There were showers coming in. It was getting
there was
darker,
a bit of rain.
But they probably could have got another hour of play before that rain actually hit and then set in. So, and then they lost the rest of the day. But for the fans that showed up, it was a bit disappointing. And commentary, of course, was a bit scathing. There's how can we, not be playing? This looks fine to me. There doesn't seem to be long shadows cast. Some thoughts about just flick them a pink ball and go out there and keep playing, if it's that bad. But,
I feel got to get on top of things like this. We are going to have a bit of a chat about T20 in just a second.
State of Test cricket maybe as well.
Yeah,
got a bit of
that's
conversation.
Right. About 30,000 people in there on day 2 and they really didn't get to see much cricket at all.
Yeah, weren't super happy.
You already have to fight against rain. If you're having to fight against light, essentially the peak of our summer.
That's it.
Also, Sydney.
Yeah, peak of wet season in Sydney.
It seems like every summer getting full days play is a shit show at the SCG. Love the time.
Hard.
Love the test. Love the time of the year. Love Jane McGrath and the pink test and everything that goes around day 3. But it makes for some ordinary viewing when there's not enough light
Yes.
It's all right. Next year will be the wind.
It's a bit too hot out there. Marnus, he played all right for his 60. See that ball that bowled him?
There was some real peaches in
all
all the test matches, I think.
The head one at Boxing Day.
Yep. And then Mitchell Stark had one later in this one as well, which is also very tasty. But back to Marnus, I think he's kind of getting back into a bit of form. He looked a bit better against Pakistan, which is what we want to see. Who I thought maybe could have done better was probably Steve Smith throughout this test. But also, he's getting some runs, but by his lofty standards, he's kind of hasn't met that. I think he's averaging, a century every 5 innings.
Yeah, which he hasn't done that
for a while. So, yeah, he's kind of due. Whether that curse of what Virat had has now kind of moved its way to Steve Smith, I hope not.
When was his last ton? So if you just we've got the Manhattan up here, and it's just skyscrapers deluxe, and that one there, it was the Ashes, wasn't it? You should be able to just click on it. So 28th of June, Lords. So for us as cricket fans to have waited 7 months, albeit not heaps of Test cricket, how many innings is that? 10 there, maybe?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12 innings since Smudge's last ton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel right, does it?
Yeah, double his average, which is the concerning thing. But you're not going to drop him.
No, I think he's a long way away from being dropped. Perhaps
we'll talk about anyone banging down the door in a minute, and there's definitely not. So,
does he continue to stay at 4? That's a conversation for a second too.
Mitch Marsh also still been very good in that innings as well. He got 54 as well, fourth 50 in the series actually.
If it wasn't for Cummins, he's been the best player in the series.
He's bowled pretty well as well.
Yeah, the Bison.
Taking some very key wickets with his. So, yeah.
Very good to see. Into day 3, what do we end up making? 299. Oh yeah,
we had a bit of a collapse ourselves.
5 for 10 we lost. Yeah, late there on day 3. Amir Jamal, he just got shouted a bit. His second 6 for in his third test. It's pretty amazing.
Pretty crazy.
Looks like they found a talent.
And then that Pakistan second innings, it started 2 for 1. No luck at the top of the order whatsoever. Having said that, Shan Masood, that's a crap shot for his skipper to play. Just no feet, hung his bat out there, and he got a golden quacker.
Yeah, just put it out there for a little bit of a tickler and
schnicked him up.
Shouldn't be throwing the bat that far out.
And we've got to talk a bit about Babar Azam. Coming into this, one of the world's best batsmen across all formats. He doesn't really like batting in Australian conditions. He does have the 1 ton here, but I've got it here. His average is 25 in Australia from 16 innings.
I feel like for Baba, it's part of that thing being he's the target. Like he's the one that everyone wants to get, and the Australia, you can tell when he came out. Every time he wanted the bat, the ball they wanted to get his wicket.
He's the massive wicket.
He's the massive wicket. So they obviously had a very good game plan for things that he struggled with, and trapping him essentially, working him into traps to get his wicket. Because I think the Australian bowlers loved getting him, and they love that challenge. And like we said, that kind of opens up their middle order to then into the tail, which the Australians, that opens the floodgates, and they can run through them and get a bulk of wickets.
And it was the big horse, the big country horse, Josh Hazlewood, 3 wickets in and over, finished with 4 for 16. And he started to get the feel. Geez, this one might be over before lunch on day 4.
Yep.
115 Pakistan finished up with. We needed 130, I think it was, for the win. Yep. Usman Duck. So Marnus essentially opening. Interesting conversation there. Handy 62 not. Marnus probably a touch better than Smudger across the series, but also underwhelming per his lofty standards.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah, he had 207 at an average of 41.
I would hate to check his recent tons as well. Like
bring it up. Been a while.
Been a while. Yeah.
We'll start the conversation.
But I think, on Marnus, I think the conversation for that is he's essentially been opening because. In this case, it was Usman, but it's been Warner that's been struggling a little bit with recent form, especially when they've been travelling overseas. For him to be out there very, very early and have to face off the hard ball.
Do you think Marnus is a shout to open the batting?
I feel like he makes more sense as a 3. And I think if you're going to put someone else potentially there, then having Marnus kind of still covering you as a 3, that's kind of his spot. I think they'll probably stay with that. Because what do you do if you move him up 1? Then you're shifting everyone up, and Smith goes a 3, and then say do we go Green a 4, or do you go head?
Yeah, head up the order.
Yeah, and then Marsh and Green, you kind of figure out which one you want to go with first.
Or do you do the thing that really got a bit of momentum sort of halfway through the test is Smudge opening the batting. He actually said, if that's what they want, I'm keen to do it.
Yep.
Cummins hasn't given any indication that
I think that all the cards are very close to the chest.
So close. Like, this could be just a bigger old PR stunt.
Yeah. No one's going to watch the West Indies game. They're going to announce it just an hour before play, so everyone's in the stadium ready to find out who it's going to be. But, Cam Green's the main one that's been in the squad. It's interesting they let Boland leave to go back to play Big Bash. So maybe he doesn't figure in some of the rotation for West Indies, but then they probably call him back up if they really want to in 10 days' time.
Yeah, it's not going to be an issue, I don't think.
Yeah, but I think my point is they had Cam Green around the most for the series against Pakistan. So by all accounts, it seems like he's going to get his way back in the squad. It's then how they shuffle around. That's kind of my feeling. But we can talk about that a bit more in a second.
Talk about it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we just cover off on Marnus. It looks like he's actually had a ton more recent than...
It was Ashes, wasn't it?
It was Ashes, yeah.
But then before then had struggled for a while. But 2021, 2022, awesome. It's just been 23 and 24.
Then again, his last 4 innings, we just talk about the 350s. So
he's due.
Yeah. He's due. He's definitely due.
He's definitely due. Smudge or Marnus or Head or Marsh. Any of those guys could do the opening.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like I think they're looking at the current 11, which will come 10 plus they've got one guy they've had in the squad for probably the most in the last 2 years, being Cam Green. Do they slide him back in and then figure it out, or the other option is Cam Green still sits there as essentially the backup, and then they try someone new. So the recent news of the back end of this test, the test against Pakistan, the New Year's test, the last couple of days, and then over the weekend was Shane Watson saying, "Hey, maybe Smith needs to do it," and Smith, saying, "I'm more than happy to do it." Looks like McGrath chimed in and said the same thing. So that's kind of been thrown. Because when we talked about it before New Year's, we hadn't really thought of Smudge as an option to move up. It was
for us. It was definitely Head or Marsh, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't. It hadn't come in that conversation. And then Green kind of was another option. It's like, do you open, throw Green in there? Has opened a little bit in Shield. Is my understanding. Not a regular opener by any game, but he's done other.
I'm not a fan of it either, as the bloke being so much younger than everyone else, 24-year-old, anointed as possible future Test captain. I feel like it's an added pressure for him to then go out and open. For mine, if they'd go the reshuffle, I'd rather see someone go up and Green bat at 5 or 6. 4. Yeah, he could bat
with 4. Yeah.
So it comes back to that argument. Do you pick the specialist opener out of Bancroft, Finch or Harris, who have all had a go and haven't made many runs, or do we go with possibly the most talented 6 sticks with no qualified opener? Now, it's happened in Test cricket before, where we've had guys come in and often they bat at 6 and then they move their way up. I think JL did it. Punter went from 6 to 3. Smudge
started as a spin ball.
8. So there's certainly, it's been done before. I suppose it's such a weird sort of predicament because we've got all these established bats. It's none of them are really vying for positions.
Yeah, well, I think you've got it there. Renshaw and Harris, in their 14 Test matches, they averaged 29 for Renshaw and 25 for Harris. I think what we looked before was 24 for Bancroft, and he was a tick higher. I think he was like 30. Not much higher than that. So
what's for his average in Test cricket?
I think so.
26.
Okay,
so all of them between 25 and 29.
All had, say, an opportunity, really didn't cement themselves in those spots. And then I guess we were talking about Bancroft pre-show. He's he's got the most runs. Like he's been the best in the last 2 years in Shield. Caveat. So Shield. So if you're going to pick, if the Shield's your feeder league, if you're going to pick it, Bancroft's your man. I think Ricky Ponting's.
That's Punter's pick. I'm happy to go with whatever he says.
Yeah,
but that bloke commentate. It's like watching fucking, I don't know, who can predict the future? I was going to say Gandalf, but I don't know if that's the right comparison.
Well, Ricky's pretty close. So, so
you shall not part.
Yeah, I think it's more magic. I think you need to go more like Doctor Who, who's more like a time lord essentially.
Time Lord. Doctor Who. Well, I get sidetracked here.
So I've got no clue what's going on.
Anyway, Bancroft, I think of the three currently, he's probably got the most form. But then there's the side story of maybe the politics in it as well.
Politics in cricket.
I
wouldn't.
And we're talking and
politics would.
We're going back to when
Don't talk about South Africa then.
Bancroft came off his suspension. He did the interview, kind of trying to say his side of the story, and didn't throw the bowlers on the bus, but kind of alluded to the fact they probably knew what was going on, and by all accounts, the Australian bowlers were like, "Hey, we knew nothing. That's bullshit. Why are you bringing up an old story? Because it was 2 years by that point. And it's like, why are you making this news again?
Because guys, you all fucking knew. That's why. Oh shit! Sorry.
yeah. Well,
we were talking about it last week.
And Bancroft, I've lost my spot. I've lost a couple prime years for playing for Australia. So of course he's frustrated, but. Yeah, whether that, a bit of bad blood there, considering your captain's one of those fast bowlers, does that mean he's just completely blacklisted?
I would hope that it doesn't come down to that, and we're picking more on the best man for the job and the future,
form, the
form of the candidate, the future of Australian cricket.
True.
And for mine,
it is a team sport, and he's playing for your team.
I feel like he's done everything that he needs to over the last 2 years, hands down, like head and shoulders better than anyone else in the Shield over the last few years.
Yep.
Granted, Renshaw was on tour with the team for a little bit, so he hasn't had the same opportunity.
Yeah, well, I think Harris toured England, so
that is true.
So I think that those two, they've been in there and they've had a couple opportunities, filling in for some injuries, but nothing to write home about and nothing to cement themselves like, hey, they really need to be picked. So I'm in the camp of, I think Green's back in and they're going on some form of reshuffle. My pick would probably be Head first, but Smith intrigues me a bit. Having Green maybe intrigues me. We got West Indies. I feel like we're going to tinker.
Yep.
But that's one thing. I think it's Green in, reshuffle, tinker a little bit.
I like it. I think that's maybe where they go, but I'll go the traditional. You pick an opener, you pick the guy with the runs on the board, and I love the redemption story of it all. So, gun to my head, I'll go Cameron Bancroft.
Yep.
You want to go to any left field?
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit of a predicament, like you boys said. Cam Green has to be in the team. He's the anointed one. He needs to get as much experience as he can before he takes over the helm in the next 5 years or 10 years, whatever it might be. So he has to be in the team. Again, West Indies is probably a good chance to just throw something out there. We know we've got a pretty good shot at winning.
Yeah, considering the West Indies team they're bringing out, it's going to be pretty young. So.
Yeah, but to chuck another name in, Renshaw's numbers sort of prove it. Probably just needs to get a few more tests under his, and that's it. These guys just need to get into the test team, show what they're worth, and then you can make a fair assessment of it. And I don't know, it's not the end of the world. You've still got Collage has probably got a few more years left in him. Smith's probably got a few more years left in him as well. So if you go those two as your top two, then that's probably a short-term solution. You're probably not looking long-term. If you do that, you might need to bring someone else in to start building that team for the next 10 years. Yeah.
But
I'm not sure.
I feel like maybe the reshuffle buys time. But
it buys time.
Yeah. Two interesting points, though.
But do you need to buy time with who we've got at the moment?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Bancroft, Renshaw, how else are they going to get experience?
Exactly. Well, if you're not happy with them, my point is that you buy time for someone else. Is it Will? Is it Will Puhosky? Does he come back?
Seems a long way off.
Yeah, exactly.
But that is very left field.
True. But my point is, you're buying time for someone else to potentially put their hand up. I actually going back to Smith. So my point on Smith is maybe because there's chat about maybe he's going to retire because he's kind of done everything. And does he need to continue? Is this a new challenge for him?
Hasn't opened before.
Yeah, exactly. Is this a new challenge for him?
Yeah.
That's how his brain, I think, would
Yeah,
work.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't hit a ton, and as we said, and like my form's been okay, but not my lofty standards.
Yeah.
Is going to an opener with the challenge I need to kick me in the bum. Like,
Yeah,
you
just
can
go after it.
Yeah, exactly. You can see him potentially doing that.
Yeah, it's when Brady had rumours of going to the Bucks, and I thought, people don't think like that. He's achieved everything. Like, why does it? Like, no, these Uber athletes do kind of think like that. They're after the.
I have to
they're
prove that
whole
I
nother
can do it without
level.
the
Yeah,
Patriots.
exactly.
I can do it without
Just
Bill.
They're after that
competitiveness
challenge.
and-
I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
if it is Smudger.
Question for you: how much does Big Bash League kind of play into run scoring? Because from memory, the two that kind of
What for test matches?
I would
say
let me go.
as-
Let me go for this first. The two that remind me is both Usman and Matthew Wade. Basically, every time they picked up a stick in those summers that led to them, they scored runs.
Yeah,
like
that is
Big
true.
Bash,
Yeah.
Shield, whatever it was, they had to be picked because they scored runs everywhere. Yeah, they were smashing. They were getting tons in Big Bash.
I
and
remember
you're like,
Usman killing it, Wade killing it.
yeah, and they're kind of like, why is these guys not getting picked in the test screen? And then they both got picked, and they kind of cemented their spots for the foreseeable years. My point is, Renshaw 5 for 7 in this. It's
But I don't know. Again, his game doesn't really suit T20 cricket. Like, he's never been an elite T20 player.
yeah.
I suppose your argument is, well, when you're seeing them like beach balls, doesn't matter what
Exactly,
format it is.
exactly. If you're confident you've got the form, it doesn't matter. You're throwing the bat, you're scoring runs. So,
Well, I suppose, is that what you need out of an opener? Just someone who can just quick fire
yeah, well,
a 50 or
Well,
a
if we're going like for like with Warner, that's what he made his career
have
on.
we
wasn't it?
finished
Yeah.
with David Warner? Maybe we'll use that as a segue. We go back into T20 as he's retired as what do you think? Arguably the best player across all three formats for Australia.
Yeah, there's a good shout. It's obviously T20 cricket's only 20 years old.
Yes,
So
if that. So,
yeah, at an international level, I think we're right on about 20 years. What's the IPL in 17? So let's go about 20. Yeah, who else would you have? Like Stark and Cummins, maybe not as accomplished in terms of length of career, but Davey's done it for the longest and been very good at all three formats. Shane Watson, probably not quite the same test cricketer as what David Warner was, but very good in the two white ball. I think it's a fair statement that he's our best three format cricketer of all time.
Yep. And of course, caveat that some of those guys that we probably think is like, there's probably a whole bunch of guys there probably didn't get to play as much T20, because T20 kind of kicking off the back end of their careers. And you're thinking about like Warney, and then going to Batman's, Gilchrist, Simmons, Ponting. Like, those guys had opportunities to play T20. We're assuming they would have scored fuckloads of runs.
Yeah, exactly. If it'd been around 40 years, I think it might be a different conversation. But I think that's a good thing. I think maybe a more interesting conversation is where does Warner rank amongst test openers for Aussies? And crunching the numbers, because I've seen a lot of people like saying, he's like
International numbers.
He's like had an average number. He's had an average career, and his runs are all inflated by big centuries, which is a little. There's probably some truth to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you look at 112 tests, nearly 8,800 runs, fifth most by an Aussie, tick under 45, 26 tons. The only stain that you can put it on him is the lack of form in England and in India. That's
international record.
That's the only cloud hanging over him. For mine, and we're going to go through the numbers, I think he's the second best opener after Matthew Hayden in Australian Test cricket history.
Yep.
And I think the numbers are there to justify that argument.
Do you want to run through some quick little averages there?
Yeah, so Hayden, like 100 odd less runs, averaged over 50 and had 30 tons. I don't think there's an argument for who is better than Big Matty Hayden.
100% agree.
Then it really becomes quite open. So Langer, Taylor, Boone, all quite similar in sort of 7,500 runs. Langer, the lowest average there at 41.8. Boone, the highest at 43.6. So Warner, his average is higher than all of those guys, and he had more runs. Those blokes performed better overseas than David Warner did.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's a fair drop down to Michael Slater in terms of runs scored, nearly 2,000 less, but still averaged nearly 43. And I think a good throwback, a nice, I imagine if he'd played a bit later, is Bill Laurie, who averaged 47 and scored 5,200 runs in a period where they didn't play as much Test cricket.
Yeah.
So it's like the old sort of, I'm not calling Bill Laurie Bradman, but had Bradman played today, there's a good chance he scores 18,000, 20,000 test runs.
Yes.
Okay. So not to forget Bill Laurie, but then all the other guys are modern guys. Having looked at the numbers, my feeling is it's Hayden 1 and Warner 2. If I'm picking an all-time Australia 11, my openers are Matthew Hayden and David Warner. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, and you can't bat in England, and you average 31 overseas and all the rest of it. But mate, he at the peak of his powers, fucking pretty handy stick, and commend what he's done for Australia.
100% agree.
Definitely.
Anyone
that you'd have over him?
In that list, it's I guess a bit of a Mark Taylor tragic growing up. But Taylor, he has the extra thing, being the captain. Was a captain, could score triple centuries in the subcontinent.
They had that aspect to his game, but scored less runs, less hundreds, lower average.
Exactly.
And it's essentially the same for all those guys.
Yep. Yeah. So I have a bit of a bias there, but I agree the numbers there back up what we're saying. I don't disagree with you at all.
Here we go. Thank you, QTW. If you want to go real old school, guys like Victor Trumper, Simpson would, again, we got to do the whole, we're comparing 100 years ago, but it would definitely be there in a cricket historian's best 11. I think we're starting to get into the so hard to compare kind of territory there, where we're going sort of pre Bradman in terms of Trumper. But I'll stand by my statement. If I'm picking my 1 to 11 Australian Test team, it's Hayden and Warner at the top.
Yep.
Or do we open with someone who's a better cricketer but not an opener? We're back to that conversation.
Yeah, so
exactly.
If you're not talking pure and dominantly openers, there's a bunch of guys that are you're in the top 10 run scores for Australia that you just pick your best sticks, and so that then shuffle Warner down the list a little bit to the point where maybe he's not in that.
This is out.
In best 11 of all time of just pure batsmen. So, but
and we didn't set out to pick our all-time Australian 11, and would
no.
you do a whole podcast on it.
We'll be here all.
We'll leave it for there. I'm just. The Australian public's miffed me a little bit over the last couple of years in terms of the general sort of rhetoric around some people around Warner and the end of his career.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, he probably did the one most un-Australian thing he could do and cheating in a game he probably didn't need to because he plays for Australia. So
a lot of people haven't gotten that. A lot of people haven't gotten over that.
I think that really, for the Australian spirit and the Australian mentality for playing sport, especially cricket, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So
for mine, Smudge isn't viewed like that.
No, but I
think it's the off-field antics and stuff as well.
Well,
there's a lot of stuff that's.
I think he's a fiery
behind the scenes.
And earlier in his career, he did some dumb things.
I think Smudge just gets a little bit of leeway that Warner kind of being the ringleader as a veteran, bringing in the young fella, and then Smudge kind of turning a blind eye. Not as an instigator. It was kind of why he gets a little bit of a free pass on it. Whereas Warner, maybe not so, hasn't really owned the fact that, he was the ringleader and kind of gone to that. Has done his time, of course, we're saying that, but, in the media and that, it's just kind of, I think they would prefer to rather forget it ever happened, leave it in the past, but, it did happen and a lot of people rubbed them the wrong way.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
People don't forget. They're not quick to move on, are they?
No.
For mine, it feels like ancient history.
Yeah. But, it's not like he did steroids and you got to put a giant asterisk next to his career record.
Barry Bonds.
Yeah. And Faf gets away for his lolly for a couple of weeks earlier. So
where's the Australian outrage at Faf du Plessis?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, again, that's probably one for another podcast. But obviously, Sandpaper Gate has thrown, and it will leave a sour taste in the Australian public's mouth for
it changed the
forever.
Cricket for that period. It really
this
did.
is true. That's a good little segue into South Africa. Mm-hmm. Is this the beginning of the end of Test cricket for nations outside the Big Three? Doesn't look good.
Yeah, we talk about to me, it's just money. One, the players don't get paid enough outside of Australia, India, and England to play Test cricket. And two, to make enough money, those leagues, the T20 leagues are making more money for them than Test cricket is. So
that's
for the National Cricket Board.
for the boards.
Exactly.
Not for the ICC.
No.
The ICC has a lot of money. A lot of it, yes, is the BCCI. Is there do we need to have a wealth sharing system where all this money that's coming in through India needs to actually prop up?
Yeah, well, that's the
West
conversation.
Indies and now and Sri Lanka's been in turmoil, and now South Africa. Like you're starting to think this is getting kind of close to the top of cricketing prowess.
Yeah. Well, outside of those big three, if that's going to be Test cricket going forward, where it's just those three playing against each other in a rotation, they need some. It seems like the other boards want better support, need some more money, and they obviously think the best way to get funds now is. These guys need to be playing in their T20 leagues, which is interesting because it's the opposite of what we've been talking about for the Big Bash League, because it struggles because doesn't have its Australian cricketers in it.
And
we make money from Test cricket, so that's the different. They've got the opposite problem.
And Australia's weird in that sense, where you talk to most Aussies, and again maybe this comes down to funding, and our best players always want to play Test cricket. It's always seen as the pinnacle of cricket in this nation. But if someone is a 35-year-old male in this country and they say, no, I prefer to watch the Big Bash over Test cricket, I will laugh in their face and then say, don't ever fucking talk to me about cricket ever again. Like honestly, that is my personal opinion.
Would you think it'd be different if the Australian 11 were playing regular in every Big Bash game? Like it was you have Smud going up against Marnus. Their two teams are facing off, and
that'd be interesting.
So that's kind of where
and someone said I'd rather watch that than this Test match against the West Indies. I'd say okay.
Yeah. So
okay. But if you'd rather watch, Smudge play for the pink team against Usman playing for the green team over Ashes day one, I'm still going to laugh in your face.
Yes, yeah.
And, I suppose maybe that makes me a cricket snob.
Which I think is the issue that these other nations have is they don't have the bankable franchise sort of stars they can. So we're spoiled. Yeah, we are spoiled. India's spoiled. England have their guys, whereas South Africa are probably pretty close to that. But
they
maybe
have a half decent team.
But maybe they.
Oh, it was. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But maybe they need to build those stars up more locally. So that's why they're saying play the leagues more, get out there. We'll build the league. The league's the T20's bringing in more money. We'll get that, and then maybe we'll come. We'll loop back around, and then.
So you think it's
less to Test cricket?
It's less about cricket as a sport. It's more about cricket competing against other sports in South Africa. It's like
there's probably other issues in the African nations going on that we're.
Well, because the whole
skipping over, but
the whole thing with T20, particularly with what the IPL has established, is the commercialisation of cricket.
Yep.
The BCCI have gotten the ICC to block out a whole part of the year so that they can commercialise cricket in India.
It's always been done like that.
And it's always been done like that.
And now Indians aren't allowed to play in T20 leagues elsewhere, and we'll actively, put our fingers in every pudding to make sure that the IPL is the biggest thing in cricket.
Yep.
So to me, this South Africa versus India 2 Test series to me feels like a handout. It's India saying, we'll send the guys. Yeah, we'll give you the coin.
And why the fuck is it 2 tests? Yeah, it's perfectly poised. Yes. Like South Africa hammered them in the.
South Africa are competitive in South Africa.
Well, they've never lost to India in South Africa.
Yes.
That's something that Australia doesn't have against either. We've lost at home to both South Africa and India multiple times.
Yeah, and I think go back to it. I think the problem is viewership and buy-in. I think South African cricket is thinking the T20 leagues is the way to get promotion, get the money, because we're talking money. That's what we're talking about. Get the money back into the league, and then maybe we can push to be part of the top 4, be the 4th team, compete with these guys on a more regular basis. Be where we were 10, 15 years ago. I think that's
interesting.
I think that's the fallout from T20 is, and attention spans generally.
Yeah.
Is,
thank you, iPhone.
They have to generate the money, generate the interest, so that they can then pay these guys to come over, get India and Australia over more regularly, and then play proper competitive series. I think is the other thing. So turn it into a 3 or 4 day series, 3 or 4 match series.
They've always been three.
Three. Yeah, do the three.
India-
Sorry,
India-
three or five. Like
India-
it's a
India,
full
South-
tour, or it's
Yeah,
it's
India, South Africa, for as my knowledge, it's always been three.
Yeah.
We should talk about the test. It's a pretty incredible test match. The shortest test match ever. So there you go. You got your wish, everyone.
They played it like a T20.
Right, 23 wickets on day one. What did Ravi Shastri say? You go around the corner for a dump and you miss the end of the innings. It's pretty true. They lost 6 wickets in 11 balls, 6 for none. I'm sure that has never happened in Test cricket. South Africa skittled for 55 on day one. If you want to watch the 8-minute highlight package from day one, you can watch 23 wickets fall in 8 minutes.
Well, let's not talk about pitches in South Africa.
It looked very difficult to bat on. Very difficult to bat on.
Yeah.
Dean Elgar is retiring, so in sort of the same vein, they'll be looking for a replacement. I'm not saying that Dean Elgar's career stands up to David Warner's, but it is a captain and one of their established
been there
best.
very long time.
Exactly, best top order bats. So they'll be looking for a new bloke. And then they will play those test matches against New Zealand with their essentially B side, and then we will play tests against New Zealand end of February, I believe. Interesting. I really hope in 5 or 10 years we'll watch this podcast and go, they were scared about everyone not playing Test cricket. What morons. But it's really starting to get that feel about it, doesn't it?
My worry is Test cricket goes to where it's more of like, if I'm going to use a comparison, grand final, like bowl kind of, Super Bowl kind of thing, where it's, you play your leagues and then you have your, so when I say leagues, your T20 competitions, and then you have some sort of format where Test cricket is played in some regard, but it's not as much as it is now, and it's kind of it's still seen as the pinnacle, but it's played more like a pinnacle, like it's a final event versus a regular occurrence throughout the year. So
I was struggling to get the NFL comparison,
Sorry,
but I'm with you in the sense that it could get to a point where it's like,
everyone's playing shitloads of T20, and
we play a couple of tests a year, and it's still the pinnacle. But here's
you play like a World Test Championship over 6 months, and you have 4 or 5 teams competing in it.
Get us in the comments.
Interesting.
What do you think? Are we destined for Australia, India, England only playing Test cricket? Will doesn't not mean all that much, and we've got nothing to worry about.
World Test
South
Championship
Africa.
Points. Where are we at? We were middle of the table.
We're first.
We're now first.
But we've also, I think, we've played the most games.
We have by far.
So, but we play fuck all
now.
This
we
year.
play West Indies, and then
there's 2 against New Zealand, and then there's nothing to our summer, which is India.
Yes, India.
So World Test Championship, we've got a handy lead, and then it'll be the others sort of clawing back. Yeah. Conversely, India and England are playing a lot of Test cricket this year.
Yeah. So I wonder if the World Test Championship is something that maybe is a solution, let's say. If they can build more interest in it.
Well, outside of the last 4 years, you've never been able to say we're the Test champions. So that's kind of neat. It was nice beating India and England to kick off an Ashes campaign. That is for sure. Have you got the Laddaroo up there? Yes. So we've played 8. Everyone else is sort of between 2 and 5. So we've got a handy lead. But obviously it's going to get...
India, outside of us, India played the most, and then, of course, Pakistan, who've been playing us. So,
yeah. That's something as well they need to work out from a scheduling perspective, because that's horrible to look at as a table.
And points and percentages.
We've played 8, and then half the teams have
played
well. 2. Give me some astrophysics. We might get through that. Okay.
I think this is countries playing at home, countries playing away, so...
It just shows the big disparity in how much some nations are playing Test cricket compared to others.
Yeah, so it's saying we got... That doesn't actually have New Zealand on it.
Yeah, it does.
So we're playing New Zealand at New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And we're playing India, Pakistan,
I get it now.
West Indies at home.
Yep. And then, and then we've got Sri Lanka as well away.
Yeah. So tables have rows and columns. I think both of you guys look at a few spreadsheets with your jobs.
Yeah.
Got it all.
It took me a while to figure this one out.
Makes for good podcast.
It's a special.
That's it.
Check out the Wikipedia for the World Test Championship.
Yeah, Wikipedia GOAT. Essentially, we're a long way ahead, but won't play much cricket this year. That's the take-home message for that.
I mean, last note, my conspiracy theory hat here India, well, with this whole T20 thing and South Africa not playing their best team in this next test against New Zealand, how does this, if it continues on like with all these T20 comps and
they might have a World Test Championship that's redundant from day one.
Yeah, it's just
might have
completely
these nine ICC members that are playing for the World Test Championship, but you look at it and you're like, just start the three-way semi-final or call it four-way, semis now because there's only 4 teams that can actually compete for this.
Well, that's the concern. That's what I was saying is it'll go to Australia, India, England tri-series, and they'll play off against each other over, say, a couple months, and
you know what,
and then they'll crown a champion. But
I would actually be mad. Because then we wouldn't have summers like this where we're playing the West Indies for the second consecutive time and it's a big snooze fest. And every year we play Test cricket against India and England.
That feels very rugby to me.
Look at these. Look at the All Blacks. Look how good they are.
That kind of seems to me like that's Test cricket dying off to me. Whereas you would hope those other nations would. To lose like New Zealand to South Africa, Pakistan, etc., out of that kind of conversation, I think is not great for cricket.
Let's hope that one 19th century rich white person sport doesn't follow the fate of another old white 19th century rich white person sport.
Caveat, of course, like Test cricket survived one-day cricket, so you'd think it would survive T20 as well. But it's a very different place than it was in the 80s and 90s when they kicked it off.
Yeah.
All right. That's a cricket hour. Oh, we should just touch briefly. Aaron Finch has officially retired from the Big Bash League. His T20 career, nearly 11,500 runs.
I think that's complete retirement for him, isn't it? That's
all done.
He's done. Yeah.
Done.
Done.
138 strike rate, average tick under 34. Don't forget that 172 that he scored. That was against England, I believe. 8 T2000s. A real... short format connoisseur, right up there with our best T20 cricketers of all time.
Definitely. The Heat, they're at 132 from their 20. Feels a bit unders to me.
Who's top of the Big Bash table?
Reading the table up, Jimmy.
You had it there. I saw Matt Short's been making bulk runs. It's interesting that Adelaide opened with Short and Short, and Matt Short is actually quite tall. Get your head around that. Who else has been doing a bit? I think Chris Lynn is 2 for runs as well. So both the strikers boys going well there. Scorchers are always pretty good. Renegades generally pretty stinky. Have I got most of that?
I think so. While I'm bringing that up, I think the fun note to Aaron Finch's retirement is he will probably play Davey Warner in their last match.
That's fun.
I think, at least in his last match. I don't know if it'll be Warner's last match. Unless they make finals.
Renegades unlikely to make finals, I would have thought.
Yep.
Yeah, you've been on paternity leave for a while, bruh.
You find the run scorers, I'll get the table.
I can't find anything.
Big Bash standings, Big Bash table.
Oh, well,
Sean's racing you.
I just got to scroll down.
Sixers 1, Scorchers 2.
Heater 1.
I can't read. So
they bring on the big screen.
There we go. Heat 1, Sixers 2, Scorchers 3, Stars 4. Kane's definitely in the mix. Strikers in the mix. Thunder and Renegades struggling. That's that. Matt Short, Chris Lynn, as aforementioned, 1 and 2. Aaron Hardy, got to talk about him. I think he'll play a lot for Australia, at least in white ball. Already has played a little bit of white ball cricket, but I think he'll play a lot moving forward. Jake Fraser McGurk, 21-year-old, a lot of talent. And then that man, Cameron Bancroft, does it count? 202. He's fit. He's Thunder's highest run scorer so far. And speaking of Thunder, Dan Sams currently leading wicket taker with 11, along with Xavier Bartlett, Lance Morris, and Jason Berry.
Yeah, Lance Morris is one that interests me on that list. He's been doing quite a job. I feel like he might feature in one of their West Indies games.
Yeah,
as a rest for say Stark or Hazelwood.
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't be surprised if Lance Morris, the wild thing, gets a gig in Adelaide. All right, that's cricket. There's an hour of cricket. Well, there's no better time, I suppose, than early January to sit down and talk about cricket.
It's the summer of cricket.
And its future with a couple of your best mates. All right, let's go to the States.
Oh, he broke his ankles!
Week 18 is upon us. Quick look back at week 17 and, 2 weeks ago even.
Christmas.
NFL just continues to break records in terms of numbers. Nearly 30 million people watching the Eagles and the Giants on Christmas Day. Sort of double what the NBA games were getting
Across
combined.
Yeah.
So
I think I saw as well of like 100 of the 100 top shows of 2023, 83 of them were NFL games. I think the other 17 were college football games. So, football is king in America. It is definitely, post any of the concussion things that come out, it's grown leaps and bounds. It's the biggest sport by far in the US now. So, it's crazy.
they've got to sort out some of the officiating. This Lions Cowboys.
Do you know what I found out that they do not have full-time officials, referees in the NFL?
Really?
Yeah. So
what,
It's all part-time.
they're all part-timers. Yeah, and they're the only major league in the US that does it. So I was just like,
short
what?
season. Yeah, well, I suppose that.
the September
is 7 months of the year you don't have work.
Exactly. They'll go back to being lawyers and etc. to their day jobs, and then they get pulled into.
You'd want to be a fucking lawyer if you're a referee at the moment. Tell you what.
But for the multi-billion-dollar league that it is,
Surely 6 months a year they should just have them, watching film. This is
getting on the rules, being part of the rules
what's
committee.
The rule?
Yeah.
Pop quiz.
Yeah, exactly. 100% agree. So I'd be interested to see if they make that change going forward because it has been pretty average. We've been talking about it week on week. I'm talking about how's it impacting all the gambling, whereas this one directly impacted a playoff position and a game that they would have won. So we're talking about Lions Cowboys. Lions had Decker come out and be eligible. They had Skipper run out. And you see Skipper run out towards the ref. So essentially they ended up with 3 linemen close to the ref, but Decker was the one that said, I am reporting, I am eligible. But, the amount of them, they were trying to confuse the Cowboys players, but they confused the referee as well.
I think they confuse themselves too because Skipper's running on, waving his hands and rubbing his belly and doing everything that you're meant to do to report in as eligible.
Yeah, but Decker's the one that's actually in the ref's face saying, I am reporting. Yeah. And then when they line up...
Did you see the slow-mo? But the ref is looking at Skipper.
Yeah.
He's not looking at Decker.
Yeah.
Oh, the ref wasn't even looking at them. Like,
He's wearing the Homer Simpson glasses.
Yeah, the ref needed his Specsavers, bro. So, but then if you go to the actual alignment, there's no way that Decker... he wasn't an official lineman. He was in the ineligible spot. So he had, they should have thrown a penalty flag that he was in the wrong position if that was the case, because he had to be the one that reported in as eligible. From their positioning, he was the only one that could have potentially have got it. So he then, of course, caught the touchdown?
2 point.
2 point conversion.
2 point conversion,
which was ballsy.
Yeah, which would have won the game. They get flagged, of course, and they come back and try again. I think they get flagged on that, and then they try for a third time.
Yeah.
For a third time.
I'm surprised they tried it for the third time.
That's also where Dan Campbell, I think, has to take some responsibility. Yeah, they got dicked by the refs, but if they're going to move you back 5 yards, you're 7 yards out, just kick the extra point, man. Come on.
But he's got huge balls.
Well, sometimes the small balls that think things forward and don't think in the heat of the moment, drenched in testosterone and sweat. Make more rational decisions.
Yeah, but the fallout from this is all the Lions players said Decker was eligible. There's video of Goff telling Decker to go over the referee and be eligible.
They did everything.
Dan
right.
Campbell says, I told the refs that this is the game. This is how we're going to report in as eligible. So there is some room for the commissioner to overturn a result. It's been a week. It's not going to happen. But
no
chance. But Lions fans, Detroit, have bought nearly every billboard they could saying Lions won. Decker reported eligible. So, they are very much in the camp that they did everything right and then the refs fucked them. And by all accounts, it seems to be the case.
Was definitely the big talking point, I should say,
big story
of
as well,
week 17. So. Now, look, it hasn't cost either a playoff spot.
They've both been
both there.
Seeding is...
Yeah. See, it could cost one of them, it could cost the Lions a home playoff.
I think that was the whole argument. I think it did cost...
Because
the advantage sort of thing.
And the NFL looking at it, they want Lions to have the home game because they're going to have the Rams and Stafford come in to play the home playoff game. So
that's the script storyline.
Write the script.
Follow the script.
Yeah.
Let's look at these playoff pictures. So Ravens played today. They did lose. They rested,
played a big team.
Yeah, pretty much all their starters. Lamar, he's less than $1.01.
He's locked it up.
He's got the MVP.
Yeah, I'd be
Thoughts on that?
I think for him, it's technically a down year. You look at his numbers, 2019.
I was going to ask what makes him the MVP. Like,
there's no one better. That's the problem.
There's no one better, and it has to go to a quarterback for some unbeknownst reason.
McCaffrey should be MVP.
For mine, I think CMC has done everything that a running back is
humanly possible.
Humanly capable of doing.
And if it's going to be a year, it'd be this year because the quarterback
over 2,000 purpose yards and 22 touchdowns or something from CMC.
Yeah. Whereas I think there's about 10 quarterbacks that have thrown more touchdowns than Lamar has because I think he's only thrown 25 or 28. Like he won the MVP with 35.
Yep. So he
hasn't done that.
And he had more rushing touchdowns that year
as well. So
having said that, they've won a fuckload.
Yes,
he's played very well.
He has more passing yards.
He's got more passing yards than he did than the year that he won it,
and slightly less rushing yards. So
by
his own standards for
down.
2019, like it's not better. So
So again, then who's he competing against? It's not golf. He's not competing against himself.
No,
he's competing against everyone else.
Dak, I think. I'm
surprised there's still a market.
Yeah, well, he's at $1.05 in there.
Yeah.
No, that's not
0.05
cents.
This is like back to the maths at the start of the conversation around the Panthers owner and how much that fine hurt his back pocket.
Yeah.
What's that? You put $1 million down, you get 50 grand.
Yeah, quick maths. Mm-hmm. Bow back. Taking out $1 million.
But I did see the thing during.
It's $5,000.
Yeah.
It is $5,000.
Yeah,
I can't even do maths.
That's
$1 million and $5,000. Excel.
He's a good accountant. That's why
I've been on parental leave.
The money disappears.
It's $5,000 off a milli.
Yeah.
So I did see this during the week. So Dak Prescott is there at number 2. The only stat that Lamar has more than he does is rushing yards. Everything else, and rushing touchdowns is just not on this one here. But everything else, passing yards a game, touchdowns to intercepts, rating, QR, etc.
Wins. Lamar's got more wins.
Yes.
Does that play into it?
Yes.
Lamar didn't get the refs to help him win a crucial game in Detroit that angered the whole city.
Yeah. And then the others like Brock, he had a big 4 intercept game. That killed his chance.
You can win the MVP.
Josh Allen's thrown 30 touchdowns again this year.
Lots of picks.
But again, that's his game though. He's a turnover gunslinger. Yeah.
Yes. So, how many rushing touchdowns has Josh Allen?
15, I think.
Fucking nuts, man.
Let me confirm.
Yeah, I think it's 15.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jimmy going to beat me to it because total touchdowns that's nearly 10 more than what Lamar's got. So.
Josh Allen's got 15.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
And can you bring up
Hurts got 15
also
as well.
has 15, but Josh Allen's passing numbers outside
I think he's got
30
picks. Touchdowns.
Yeah, are pretty good, aren't they?
20 is that 27?
Josh Allen's 27.
Yeah, 27 touchdowns, 16 intercepts.
Passing yards is 3,947.
It's been nearly 4,000. But again, does the MVP throw a pick every game?
Yeah, 16 picks hurts him.
Yeah.
What else?
Look, we're talking like they've given it to Lamar. There's still a chance. There's still a chance.
Based on the betting companies who know a few things.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're saying
all but done.
It's a done deal. Yeah.
You know what else is interesting?
24 passing touchdowns for Lamar. Like it's
a down year. Yeah, it's actually like compared to his MVP year.
I think across the league for quarterbacks is kind of a bit of a down year. So
it's just the fact that he's consistent across all stats, whereas all those other quarterbacks are like good at just one thing,
and maybe we're just looking too much at stats as well. If you look at him as a game manager, he's had perfect passer ratings in a few games this year.
They've been dominant,
and they've gone out and belted teams like
what they Dolphins,
49ers.
Yeah, I think they're one of the few teams that have had against. Actually, that's the big thing against positive, over 500 teams.
Yeah, they play better.
Yeah, they've played better. I think they've got 10 wins against over 500. Against the guys that have winning records, they've put 50 on them. Yep. So they've been very, very dominant.
And that's like the argument straight against Tua, who does the opposite, like a bit of the flat track bully kind. The Dolphins in general.
Yeah, good segue there because they have Buffalo. So
yeah. which is sick. But just to finish up on Lamar and the Ravens will get a week off. Lamar essentially has the MVP, and they're not Super Bowl fat. The 49ers are still shorter than the Ravens, which
they do add Davon Cook during the week, which is going to be interesting. They've been hurting a little bit at running back all year. So, that'll be very interesting for them. But yeah, I think they're one of the most complete teams, and the Harbour. I'm struggling to say
Harbour.
The brothers, looking like they could be running into a couple. Well, one's definitely in a championship. The other one might be on his way.
Finns Bills tomorrow. This is huge.
Big game.
So the winner takes the AFC East confirmed.
Yep.
And depending on how things work out, most likely avoid the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
Yes.
Crazy. Chiefs still have to beat the Chargers tomorrow. They've got their West. They've clinched the West, but I think we'll still see some starters. I'm not 100% sure there because they may want a higher seeding. Yes. Anyways, we'll see how the Chiefs line up. Jags will want to win against the Titans because if they lose, good chance they're done.
Yep.
Browns play the Bengals. Browns may rest the whole team. Because I think they can't go lower than 5 and they can't go higher than 5 because whoever wins AFC South will automatically get the 4.
Yep.
Despite record. Speaking of AFC South, huge game today. It was essentially a playoff game between the Colts and the Texans. Colts, real heartbreaker. Had the chance to drive down and win with a missed extra point.
Why was JT not on the field? I think it's the question.
Yeah, so they called it up 4th and 1. Wasn't a bad play call. Tyler Goodson all he had to do was catch the ball and fall over. And it was thrown a little behind, I suppose, but he got 2 hands on it, no defender around. You'd got to eat those for breakfast. And
Kadarius Toney was all the memes going around. So, yeah.
Poor fella.
Poor fella.
I haven't heard of him.
Yeah, exactly. So
he might be remembered as a guy that cost him a
which is probably
berth.
the reason for that play call is no one was going to cover him because no one had heard of him. If it's JT, maybe he's getting 2 guys kind of sliding his way. Maybe that was the play design, but he had his number called and unfortunately couldn't get it.
Having said that, I like it as a storyline thing. CJ Stroud, Rookie of the Year in the bag. The Texans
is he
fun. Who?
The Rams wide receiver.
Puka Nacua?
Yeah.
Get us some odds.
I think, again, quarterback, yes. But I think
he'll have it in the bag. I think it's more open than the MVP, but I think the Rookie of the Year is CJ Stroud.
I think I really like
the bookies agree.
Well, what do you got? I can't.
CJ Stroud's $1.02.
Even shorter than Lamar.
No. Okay.
I was
0.05.
Sorry, yes, yeah.
Puka Nacua is second there at 9.25. And it's daylight.
Well, I think because Nakua hasn't set sorry, I'm going to butcher it all.
Puka Nacua.
And I'm the one that's been on the podcast for 3 months.
I'm tired. Because he hasn't set the rookie receiving records. He needs 24 yards and a couple more receptions to get both.
Yeah, right.
So he's really close. So
who has the rookie receiving records?
Jefferson? It might have been Jefferson broken by Chase. I feel like.
That's why we got you back here, mate.
You can double check that for me.
And you can say Puka Nacua.
But by all accounts, he'll play until he breaks the record, and then they'll take him out.
They'll take him out. Yeah. That's a thing as well. If you are having a little punteroo tomorrow, have a look at incentives because a lot of guys, deal incentives.
Yeah, I saw Clowney got half a sack today, and that was like $750K for him.
Beautiful.
To hit his incentive, so he was going crazy.
Check out the Gronk video all time, getting his millie from Tom Brady. So AFC South, essentially Jags win and in.
Yep.
The Colts will be praying, I think, that they lose. And actually, no, the Colts are done. The
Colts are gone. Yeah,
the Steelers are praying that the Jags lose.
Correct.
Steelers, the Jags to lose or the Bills to lose. So either of those teams lose, Steelers are in.
Yep.
There's a chance that the Bills miss out, which is wild to think.
Yeah,
of.
they have to win to guarantee their spot.
A lot of scenarios can happen in the AFC East.
Because I feel like if the Bills win, does that mean the Dolphins miss out? No, because they're 11 wins.
Yeah, I think they'll both be in. So the Bills, this 7 seed, I don't actually know We might need to have the.
Jimmy, you had it up there before. Do you?
He's working overtime.
So many screens.
So
in the hunt, the Bills go down. So
yeah, so
Probably
if they lose, they can still make it. It's 40% chance that they make it if they lose.
what about the? Can you confirm the Dolphins for me? Just scroll up. So the Dolphins 100% clinched. Yeah, they're fine. Okay, cool. We'll just double checking that.
They've clinched a playoff spot, but they haven't clinched the division.
So what was that?
NFL rookie receiving record belongs to Bill Groman in 1960. Really?
No, and then Lamar broke it. But came closest to breaking the mark. Sorry. So he was about 20 yards short.
So is that how old it is?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
So it's 1,473 yards. So this is obviously for yardage, and that's in a 14-game season. And he was undrafted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bill Groman, check it out.
Well, a 5th round pick, breaking a 70-year-old, 40, 80-year-old record.
63, but who's counting?
Sorry, I went the wrong way. 63.
Didn't we? I think when we started this podcast, we
said let's do less quick math.
We need to go back to year 6 maths.
Yeah, but I guess we're only talking about yardage.
Yardage we're talking about there, yeah. So
catches
he's
and
like
touchdowns.
averaging like 20 yards a catch there. Quick maths.
And he also played 14 games as well, so it's pretty impressive.
Very much so. So yeah, wait and see.
I feel like if he breaks the record though, that's better to me than a rookie quarterback that has 4,000 passing yards. And
Well, you can get
$9.50
to one if you want to.
If I was picking awards, I think it'd be McCaffrey and Puka Nacua. So yeah.
Should we look at the NFC?
Yes.
NFC's fucking a lot of scenarios can happen. There's more things that can go on. Okay, so we don't have a clear 1 seed. So the 49ers will play all their starters. They want to win against the Rams to get the week off.
Yep.
Cowboys 11-5. They play the Commanders. Most likely win. Most likely get the 2 seed. Lions 11-5.
Do they get 1 if 49ers lose? So
what's the tiebreaker? Who
have they played each other?
I think they did.
Who won?
Cowboys.
So yeah, Cowboys will be 1.
I'm pretty sure there was that run in the middle of the season. 49ers lost 3 games.
Yeah. So to me, I think Cowboys will be 1 if they win and 49ers lose. So that's the big one there.
Lions. NFC South is interesting. Bucks beat the Panthers. They're in. That's all they need to do.
Lions can't be 1.
So Saints need the Bucks to lose to the
Lions
Panthers.
be 1? No, Lions can't be 1.
Lions can't get 1. Cowboys can.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, because they'd be the same record as the Niners, but Niners I think would get them on. So they could be 2, but I don't think they can be 1.
Correct. Eagles 11-5. They play the Giants. So they, on a tiebreaker, they need the Cowboys to lose. And if they win that, they'll get the 2 seed.
They can only go high.
And they'll win. And they'll win the NFC
and they'll
East.
win the division. Yep.
So a lot of people will be cheering for the Commanders tomorrow.
Yep.
Rams are 9-7. They play the 49ers. They need a lot to go wrong to miss the playoffs.
Correct.
Okay, but it can happen. Packers are winning in.
Yep.
They play the Bears. Bears would love to spoil the party.
100%.
Packers can still make it with a loss, but they need a lot of luck. So they're the other end of the Rams. If they lose, they're in deep shit.
Yeah.
Whereas the Rams actually might be safe even with a loss.
Jordan Love 30 touchdowns this year. So
it's been good, man.
Been good,
and I did not have expectations for this season. The way they started, I was like, yep, that's pretty much what I'd expected. Then sort of middle of the season, they're beating the Chiefs and the Lions and shit, like, we'll win the fucking Super Bowl. And then back to reality, I was struggling to beat the Panthers, lost to the Giants, got Tommy DeVito. Hey, all of that sort of plays into it. So as it stands, if all those seeds win their games, as expected, that's our teams.
Yep.
In the hunt, Seahawks, Vikings, Saints, they need a lot to go wrong. They need a lot to go right. They need a lot for the teams ahead to go wrong.
Yeah, that's some of the scenarios there.
So look.
We don't think
do the Bucks deserve to be in the playoffs if they can't beat the Panthers? Monkey, you got the Bucks hat on.
Yeah. Probably not. No,
I have to say yes, but yeah, I mean NFC South.
Yeah, it is.
We just start.
The Falcons. Sorry. We talked a couple of weeks ago about how the Buccaneers were like on the rise. They kind of looked like the team. A couple of weeks later, it looks like the Saints are back on the rise. Derek Carr is healthy, and they could steal this division. and maybe be a bit more threat than the Buccaneers, but I just don't think the Buccaneers can lose the Panthers.
I think it's too little too late.
Yeah, the Saints have Falcons.
Yep, Saints have Falcons.
At the same time, I think the Saints should beat the Falcons.
Yep, I agree, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, it won't matter.
Vikings can make it.
Interesting one. Yeah.
So they would need
to beat the Lions.
To beat the Lions, hard, and then have the Packers lose. It's not impossible.
Do they have, again, with timing of the games, would the Lions know where they're seated? Would they rest?
I was looking at this. I think all of the interesting ones are in the late window.
So all together. Okay. Okay.
So if you're thinking of waking up early tomorrow, these are the nice early matchups you can have.
Denver
Falcons and Saints. Bengals playing a Browns team, resting all their players. Jags, if you're interested, they need to win that. Same with Bucks and Panthers. So there's a few interesting ones there. Watch your Panthers Jets and Patriots. And Vikings and Lions, kind of interesting. Okay, so a few in those early windows, but a lot of to make that into a verb. And then the... Is it a verb? No, it's an adjective. A verb is a doing thing.
English on the Esky.
8:30 games, yeah.
Slightly better than maths.
better than wrong maths. 8:30 games. Packers playing for their season against the Bears. Mm-hmm. Cowboys playing for a potential NFC East title against the Commanders. Rams playing against the 49ers. 49ers at home trying to get the number 1 seed. Yep. Seahawks playing... They need to win and other things to go their way. Eagles also playing for a possible NFC East title and 2 seed. And then the Broncos and Raiders. And Chiefs and Chargers. Yep. So Chiefs are at $2.50 there, so there's a good chance I would think that they're resting a few.
Yeah, they've clinched the West, and I don't think they can get any higher than they are.
And then Sunday Night Football is the Bills and Dolphins, which is close to a playoff game.
Yes.
So it's a bit of fun in the morning.
Agree.
Pro Bowl. I don't think we're not going to read out the
entire roster.
The entire rosters. Go check them out. AFC, NFC. I've highlighted a few little snubs. You've seen a fair bit of Antoine Winfield Jr. play this year. He's very good. His old man played in the NFL too. Yeah. 117 tackles, 5 for loss, 5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles. 3 intercepts.
And then you compare his numbers to Buda Baker, who made it in. I don't know how he didn't get picked.
Now, this is interesting. They pick 1 free safety, 2 strong safeties. Technically, Antoine Winfield plays free safety.
Yes,
the 1 free safety that gets picked is Jesse Bates.
Yes.
His defensive back numbers are sick. Like, he had 6 picks, made a bunch of tackles, but he's not out there, getting 5 sacks and 4 fumbles and all the rest of it. So maybe that's something that they need to look at and say, well, I'm sure if you can play free safety, you can probably play strong safety. Maybe we just pick 4 safety.
Well, we're not picking slot cornerbacks and like nickelbacks and outside guys. We're just picking cornerbacks. So.
And that's a thing as well. Yeah. In today's NFL, a lot of teams' base defense is a nickel.
Yeah, nickel defense.
So maybe a few more defensive backs should be.
Yeah, well, I don't think any nickels got picked. So I think they were all with the main big name outside dudes. That play on the quarterbacks. So.
And for any Aussies that are sort of partial fans that might be listening, the Pro Bowl these days is a crock. Like, it's flag football. The game itself means nothing.
It is literally flag football now, and they play dodgeball and skills.
It means nothing. This is not. We're not talking about State of Origin right here.
They purely do it as it's for the resume. So
individual accolades, chuck it on the resume
for your Hall of Fame, etc.
Yeah. Hall of Fame, bargaining on your next contract. Yeah. Exactly. So these are. When we're talking about snubs, yes, the game itself doesn't mean anything, but for your contract and your career and your potential earnings, these are big snubs.
Yeah. So do you think that will change in the not too distant future?
No.
Do you reckon people start drawing up their contracts so that they don't worry about?
Yeah.
It's more.
What do you do? Like, it's an accolade.
Yeah,
it is an accolade.
It's essentially being all pro. So it's saying, hey, we're the best players at our position for that year. That's kind of what this is recognising.
Yeah,
that doesn't have like any good game or anything that comes out of it. That's
you also
that was always the sideshow.
I guess you also have like things like the top 100, which I guess is more fan based or whatever. But like,
that's player based.
So
it's different.
Right, so this is fan based.
Fan/coach.
Yeah.
And you're right. media, I think, is how it all works.
So to me, the biggest thing would be getting an accolade from your peers, which is the top 100.
Yeah.
Having said that, the snubs are interesting. I think Antoine Winfield copped a big snub. I think L'Jarius Sneed copped a huge snub. There's an argument that he might be the best corner in the league this year.
Yep.
Definitely best named L'Jarius. Let's go. He didn't allow a touchdown. It's Champ Bailey kind of stuff. He's only given up 2 50-yard games.
Yep.
I suppose it's the age-old thing with guys that become an island and quarterbacks stop throwing their ways. Maybe they don't get the stats, the accolades to go with it.
But I think the name's also ahead of him is the challenge.
Well, Pat Surtain and Sauce Gardner, I'm not going to argue either of those guys.
Ramsey was actually hurt for a fair bit of
Ramsey
the
missed games, and I think...
But he's still been very good since being back. He's still Ramsey.
He's excellent. Denzel Ward is also very good, but I feel like one of those guys could probably miss for Legarius Sneed. Josh Allen, which is talking about him being maybe an MVP before, although it might have been a stretch, but they picked 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
I think Tua, of those 3, Tua is the sort of the fun one.
Yep.
He's been blinding up the league, so I can see why they may have picked him over Allen. The other 2, I think, have to be there. Lamar, if he's going to be MVP, makes sense. And Mahomes is Mahomes. So.
Is that a name value?
Yeah, well, his numbers are significantly down this year. So.
My eyes lit up when I had a second round pick, and I thought, I'm not going quarterback. And I was like, fuck Patrick Mahomes, man. I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes. Regretted it all season. And that's from a fantasy perspective. But his numbers, again, if you're comparing yourself to yourself, he's had a massively down year.
Yeah. They've got offensive problems. So.
And a lot of that is receivers not being able to catch a ball, and Taylor Swift and anything else that you might want to think. But I think on a numbers basis, Mahomes has had a down year. Yeah. So, I think Josh Allen could, he rushed for 15 touchdowns. And then maybe some receivers, although I think we're starting to get a bit stretchy here with Brandon Ayuk.
I feel like Cortland Sutton should be in that list.
Amon-Ra St.
10
Brown.
touchdowns this year and some ridiculous touchdowns.
He did.
And I also think Quinn Miners should have been there for Denver, right guard. He was probably the best right guard, or second best right guard in football this year. So
this is hard on offensive linemen.
Very hard on offensive linemen.
Then you really have to be watching a lot of tape because we don't really have the stats to go with it outside of, I suppose, sacks allowed.
Yeah. What the PFF does.
Yeah, well, PFF. Sometimes you look at those PFF rankings and you're like, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, Miners was second best guard in the league, so that's why I threw it in there.
Anyways, check it out. There are interesting lists. There's a few snubs that we've highlighted there. XFL, USFL going to merge?
Officially merged, and they're now the United Football League.
And does Dwayne Rock
owns it?
He owns the merger now?
Yeah, he owns. So he owned XFL, and I think he's brokered essentially the deal to get it together. So both 8-team franchises have joined to create an 8-team league. So of the 16 total teams are now going to be culled down to 8 teams for spring football, essentially to fill in that gap between while everything else is finished to do that. And it seems to have a pretty good bit of backing, and it's going to have some good names on it. And I think it starts March, April-ish. So you probably start hearing about drafts and guys getting picked to play in those teams come February. And there's quite a few names that came out of last year's games that have now made it into the NFL.
Where are these teams from? Do they have NFL teams?
So I don't think they're affiliated to an NFL team like that, if that makes sense.
So Birmingham, Alabama, no. Houston, yes, obviously as the Texans.
Roughnecks.
Memphis, not so. Technically, Tennessee play out of Nashville. Michigan Panthers playing out of Detroit, so yes. Arlington Renegades playing out of Arlington, Texas, which is Dallas Metro. DC Defenders, San Antonio, St. Louis. So more than half are actually from areas that don't have an NFL team. So there's a little bit of intrigue there. No West Coast either. Yeah, all either in the South or it's nearly predominantly South.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of Texas teams in that.
Yeah, 3 Texas, an Alabama team. Yeah, only 2 really from the Northeast. Yeah, it's a bit of fun. I'm not super interested. I must admit, but
I like that. I think the concept is great because it's kind of the thing they miss. They lack, for all those 3,000 odd athletes that come out of college that then don't make it into the NFL. Like
coming to the NRL draft. That video. There's 4 contracts up.
Yeah, there's got to be some talent, and they kind of fit in the good window of yes, it's hot, it's spring football, but I think it's still kind of, to me, it kind of works, and they can fit in a gap where there isn't any other football. Football dominates their TV, so it's something I think could definitely grow. It's not going to compete with anything, but perfect, as I think the Rock's really marketed it well. It's a perfect feeder into, second chance, essentially. Don't go play Canadian football. You can play with us, play local, get your tape done, and make your way potentially back in the NFL.
Like it. With Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at the helm, surely the future's bright. Let's talk a little bit of college football. We don't talk heaps of college ball on this podcast,
We're
but
at the pointy end.
Semi-finals, surely we've got to talk a little bit. And for the first time since 2015, there's no SEC team in there. So the era of domination from Georgia and Alabama and LSU and the like is over. Michigan beating aforementioned Alabama, Big Blue.
Very good contest.
in the Rose Bowl. Yeah, it was nice to see. Sunset at the Rose Bowl. And then the Washington Huskies beating Texas there. So Washington haven't won. Actually, neither of these teams have won a national championship for ages.
Correct.
Michigan, I think, have the most national championships ever. You got to go back to like a ways.
A while ago, yes.
Yeah. So that's fun. Is that when is that? This weekend?
It is
it's Tuesday.
9th.
It's Tuesday our time.
Monday. It's
11:30 Tuesday.
Yeah, yes. It'll be after the season ends, essentially, for the NFL. They'll get their game. So, big football game.
Takeaways out of this: that Michael Penix left
looks very good.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy, I think, for Michigan also looks very, very good. There's a lot of talent in both these teams, a lot of first round talent. So, I think it would be quite an interesting game. Maybe leaning a little bit towards Washington just for more fun, see if they can get it done and get a championship.
Looking at that Penix, the big question mark is age and previous
Injuries.
ACL. He's 24.
He's done ACLs both knees and he did ACs in both shoulders. So, but having said that,
4 major joints.
He's 4 years at Indiana, I think it was. They were his injury years. He's played 2 full seasons at Washington with nothing. So, so he's been healthy of late.
And
throwing a bit of a left-hander as well. So that adds a bit of things. But
watching that game, you're like, if anyone looks pro ready, it's this guy Penix.
Yeah, someone flipped the visuals, so it looks like he's throwing right hand. And he's like, if this was a right hand throw motion, you wouldn't question it. It's like he's an elite talent. Like he'd be a high first round pick, and I think at the moment he's kind of looking at if he wins, they're pushing towards top 10. The kind of teens, the injury when he gets into the combine, they check his knees and stuff out. How comfortable they win. Maybe slides a bit. He'd be the one that's like, why is he sliding? It'd be history and age. So be interesting one to watch. But there's going to be. I think it's going to be a huge draft class for quarterbacks. So
quarterbacks, receivers.
It's a big year. Yeah, Marvin Harris should go number 1 if he doesn't. Justin Fields will be on the move, and maybe Williams is going to Chicago. So
it's fun, isn't it?
Yep.
What else did I want to say about Penix, age? So any Aussie listeners, it's not like cricket where being left-handed is an advantage, if anything, changes things up. You don't actually see many lefty quarterbacks. It flips the whole field, so everything's back to front. It changes the spin on the ball, so the receivers have to sort of adjust to see.
The offensive line's a big one.
The offensive line, so normally it's your left tackle that protects the quarterback's blind side. So with the lefty, you got to have that with the right tackle. It just inverts everything, and you don't see it all that much in pro football.
Yeah,
Michael Vick says hi.
Was Vick left-armed?
Sure. Maybe I made that up. Byron Leftwich.
So I think from memory, I'm trying to think. I think Steve Young might be the only quarterback that's won a Super Bowl as a left-hander.
I think Michael Vick's right now that I'm thinking about it. Byron Leftwich was again. We're talking about a guy.
No, based on these pictures, that looks left-handed.
Yeah. So. He's very ambidextrous.
Yes.
Back yourself there, Peppy.
Yeah. So left-handed, but Michael Vick didn't win a Super Bowl.
Tua is currently left-handed.
Tua's the only one in the league, I think, at the moment. Yeah. Sorry, left-handed.
So even that is a stat. There's one lefty currently starting in the league. Tim Tebow watching.
Lefty.
If you want to watch The Swamp on Netflix.
Keep scrolling.
It's fucking not many, really.
No, there's not many.
Like we're going through all the names. Chris Sims had a reasonable career.
May have won a Super Bowl as a backup somewhere with the amount of teams he played on.
I think he was back up at Tampa.
So the biggest name in the 2000s is Michael Vick.
Yeah. Keep going. Also, I'm pretty sure Steve Young's. Did Michael? Yeah, he did. So Mark did, but he would have been
Brunel.
He would have been backup, I think, to.
I think he was
a starter.
He was a starter for the.
So he won one
team
Super Bowl.
formerly known as the Redskins.
He won Super Bowl. Yeah, I got confused. I was thinking Doug Williams wasn't left-handed, and I was trying to work out who was. And Steve Young was the other one I could think of. Boom Eisenhower's in there. So, yeah, it's quite a lot. Eisenhower. Sorry. Too much World War II history. All right.
Yeah, you know that guy, Boomer Oppenheimer? Great quarterback. Good at making nukes too.
We've gone back 30 years to find...
The moral of the story is it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, to find a quarterback left-handed has gone all the way to win a Super Bowl. It's quite rare.
Shout out to Dwight Eisenhower if you're listening. He's dead.
I don't think Chris was with the Bucks when they won.
No, yeah, I would have said it there if he was.
Yeah.
Anyways, 48 hours until College National Championship. We're going to see either Big Blue or the Huskies.
Michigan favourite.
Yeah, I think it's
heavy
about
favourite.
5-point line, something along those lines.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting game.
Let's do some hoops.
Curry sets, fires, puts it up, bang!
Celtics haven't lost at home, 17-0. You want to know the longest streak? 54 the Warriors won at home in 15-16. But Celtics looking pretty good.
The Warriors wish they were like
Garden. Sure do. Bucks still going pretty good, although they lost a couple to the Pacers. The Pacers looking pretty fun. Joel Embiid, he's my MVP at the moment. He is shortest, but it's kind of close between him and Joker. He's got 15 30-point games in a row. It's very rare in the modern era. There's a guy called Walter Stilt Chamberlain who used to do them for fun. So if he scores 30 in his next game, he'll equal Kobe's run in 02-03 of 16. And then James Harden back in 2019 had 32 in a row, which is insane to think how the Beard was playing 5 years ago. Ooh, yeah. But Embiid really putting the Sixers on his back. Has support. Like they're a fun team all around. Tyrese Maxey's a lot better this year than he was last year. Tobias Harris is no slouch. But Embiid really putting up a good resume for back-to-back MVPs. Knicks on a 4-game win streak. They're 21-15. Julius Randle's been all right. The Heat, never count out the Heat. You know, I think you've been big on that in years past. Yeah, don't worry if they're a 7 seed or an 8 seed. They're always good.
As long as if Jimmy B is healthy and playing, then he makes a huge difference.
Like it's playoffs. They had a pretty tough road trip, but still won 2 games from Warriors, Jazz, Clippers, Lakers, Suns. They go home and have 4 at home, which are very winnable. Yep. Magic, we've got to talk about them. They haven't been great since the last pod, but they can beat Denver in Colorado.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with the young Magic team. I think they did that as well without Franz Wagner. So, yeah, look, when they're healthy, they're a bit of fun. Talking of fun, this Pacers team, bet the overs. If the Pacers are playing, they did not play any defense, regularly scoring 140 plus. Tyrese Halliburton, I think a few pods ago, like, is he top 10? Then we were like crunching the numbers, and we had like 16 blokes in our top 10. He's top 10. We were talking about it in our groupies. Everyone had him top 10. He's 8th currently for MVP at 36-1. He had 23 assists on New Year's Eve. He had 18 in 25 minutes against the Hawks. Had he played a whole game, he was really on track to nearly go for record sort of breaking numbers there. He's like getting to look like a young Chris Paul, like really playing that point guard position, just dishing dimes for fun.
Can you confirm for me? Because I thought I saw a stat that said he got their first triple-double since like 2015.
Wouldn't surprise me. I'm trying to think of guys.
I was like, wow, that seems really odd. But then also, because then I was thinking,
Sabonis when he was there would have got doubles for fun, but I can't imagine him getting 10 assists in a game.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to find the stat, and it was his first triple-double, of course, since 2015. So because he's been at the club essentially since then. I think he was a first-round pick in that year. For
him getting the boards is hard.
Yes, yeah. So we talk about triple doubles a fake start, but if that's the Pacers' first triple double in 8 years, that's pretty impressive.
Here we go.
So I was reading this before. It didn't really give me a clear answer because if you scroll down, it mentions the 2015.
Essentially, I think.
So and then MVP chance. With French assistants.
He's the longest tenured player there.
Yeah. So that was my thinking. It's been must be
I believe it.
It's crazy because then you look at someone like Joker's averaging a triple double.
Can you just go list of triple doubles for the Indiana Pacers? That might be a way to go.
Yeah. And while he does that, maybe we can finish off that side of the conference.
Yeah, finish off the East. Nets and Bulls are sort of on the cusp at 16 wins. Hawks and Raptors at 14, and then it's already lines through Charlotte, Wizards, and Pistons. The Pistons,
of course, tied the record. 28 losses in a row. They bend, don't break, baby. Yeah. Bend, don't break. They beat the Raptors, so they didn't lose 29 in a row. Did we talk last potty about their fans trying to kill their team? So
I don't think so.
Because there's a clause if
there's a clause that
the fans can kill the team.
The fans can kill the team.
I'll go to the big house.
So it's more if the team gets wiped out, say the plane crashes and they all die. So this is why they talk about should the fans should we kill the team? That they have to do
like real deep, like Reddit, like 4chan,
yes.
like
there's an NBA rule that they can have an emergency draft where they can pick players from other teams to make a new team. So it was like, should we do that to get a new team and sack off all the blokes we've got?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. And where they are, they was like, maybe we should, but that's a bit drastic.
Who comes to mind then? Brucey from The Longest Yard. Yeah. We could play against the gods. We can crush them. We can kill them.
Exactly.
Oh, mercy. Well, I think their lives are no longer in jeopardy.
They've been saved. They've won a game.
They've been saved. Hey, and look,
let's hope they don't start a new streak.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I did see the meme that was going around that said, if you live in the Detroit area and own a jersey, show up to training or try to practice on Tuesday.
Well, the big thing's been, I think it's Wingstop. You get 5 free wings with a $10 purchase or something if the Pistons win. So they haven't had to pay out of that.
It 3 times this year.
But after they won on the record, Wingstop, they couldn't. They basically run out of wings. They couldn't get up to man because everyone was going and getting their free wings. So and it would have made them a piece of money because it was like you have to pay a certain amount to then get your free wings.
Sabonis has heaps of triple doubles. I was like,
I can't find a list of
but he's got
timeline.
He's got 18 in his career.
Yeah.
So I guarantee he hasn't got 18 with the Kings this year. So a bunch of them would be with the Pacers. So fake stat.
Fake stat. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, because he
maybe it was his first triple double.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, maybe
because he would never get the boards.
Well, he never get the boards, yeah.
Whereas Sabonis averages a double.
Yeah,
so he's just going to have a few games where he gets the dimes.
Yeah. Hence why I asked you, can you confirm it for me? Because
that's why we got fact checkers. Yeah, that's why we talk about attention spans and.
But like we're saying, exactly. But like we're saying, Pacers fun.
They are fun. Bet the overs. Let's go to the West. Another fun team. I expected probably the Minnesota Timberwolves to be this good. New Jersey up there. 25-9.
Question: did you have him in your top 10?
Who are we talking about? Ann Edwards? No, I didn't. So we did proper top 10s. He's on the cusp, but you need.
I think he's been so good this year.
Yeah, well,
that's the reason why the Wolves are up there.
Well,
but who drops out?
I had
LeBron's a little old.
I had LeBron in there. I had Steph.
LeBron at 10.
I had Steph in there.
KD's still in there, but he's still doing it.
Yeah. Ann Edwards is definitely going to be a top 10, and if you've got him in your top 10 right now, I wouldn't laugh at you. That is for sure. And again, going back to MVP chats and from the football, their team's winning a lot. So
yes, and he's a big reason for it.
100%. He's averaging 26, 5 and 5. I think the big thing is the chemistry between the two bigs. We were looking at the Gobert trade last year, like, why get two guys that play a similar role, that they're just getting in each other's ways. KAT's playing more of a power forward, role. He's playing good defense, but he's more efficient as a scorer. And then Gobert just doing his 12 boards a game kind of shit, cleaning the glass. So the Wolves are looking good. It does have that feeling of Wolves and OKC maybe go 1 and 2, but are they actually the real threats?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they run into one of those teams that we've talked about before that have a guy and he's healthy. When they just dominate.
But it's fun. It's fun to see. A team that's really fun to see doing so well is the Thunder, who had a losing record last year. They were below 500. They're 23-11. All 5 of their starters are under 25, and in terms of like an injury perspective, that barely anyone's missed much
healthy
time at all.
And they're the picks they've made are paying off.
Chet's been unreal. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, he was the 12th pick last year. He's averaging 18 a game. And he is playing small forward at the moment at 6'5". I think he's a reasonable shooter. So there's a bit of noise around possibly moving Josh Giddey on. His numbers are down versus last year. Obviously,
He's had a couple of good games recently.
I think he's been fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I just whether he's the one in the 5 that's the trade piece that maybe they can get something to improve that 5.
And I think that's
value.
That's the value. Yeah.
And
He's a good-
his value now, and with all the other stuff that's kind of happened, can they get rid of distraction? Caveat. I'll knock my mic over. Distraction there.
How many beers you had?
Yeah, no, not many, but too many air quotes. So, whether that kind of plays into it, and he's the perfect trade piece for that team to then get something that maybe puts them over the edge, or get something that helps them compete come playoff time.
Well, it's juicy. If you're one of these sort of cellar-dwell teams that, like the Spurs, that have got a generational talent in Wembanyama, and you can pair that with a really solid young guard, I think, maybe they would be happy to depart with something. Maybe a little bit overs. Nets, Jazz also been sort of mentioned. I could see the Blazers making a move. It's going to be interesting. Again, it's mid-season and they're playing well. Maybe,
Don't try to fix it if it's not broken.
Yeah, exactly.
If it ain't broke,
This
don't
could all
fix
be
it.
speculation, and they could be saying, "No, Giddy's our man for the next 5 years."
Yep.
If they keep this group together, they could win it this year, and all these guys are going to be better next year. So it's really in a window now, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Legit MVP chance for SGA. He's third currently amongst the bookies, about 5-1, only behind the two freak talls in Joel and Joker. He's averaging 31 a game, which is third in the MVP. He's a massive part of their success. I think it's going to be hard to go past those two as an MVP. Barring injuries, but
Embiid scores so many points, and Joker almost averages a triple double. So it's
gonna be hard.
It's going very hard to.
I'm
beat
actually
those
surprised those two haven't pulled out further and shortened up, and that's testament to how good Shea is playing at the moment. Speaking of Joker, this is just silly, that buzzer beater against the Dubs.
Almost from the logo and just drop it in.
And it looked like the most Joker shot ever. Like, it looked so lazy and unenthused.
Just
and
his nice motion and buckets.
bucket off the glass and in. A real fucking dagger for the Dubs fans. He actually looked kind of animated. Like, you could tell that beating the Dubs is big for them.
It still matters, even though they're kind of struggling this year.
Clippers, Kings, Mavs, all through the middle there. Pels looking fun. Suns might need to pull their finger out.
Well, there's a couple teams in that order there that might need to pull their finger out. We're talking about Warriors, Lakers.
Yeah,
It seems this is the exact same scenario as last year.
I was going to say this is what it was like last year. You can't count the Lakers out or the Warriors.
We spent all year counting them out until they missed. So.
Well, LeBron's older, Steph's older. The Warriors have got the whole nightmare around Draymond and the indefinite suspension.
Well, I think they ended that. He's back now. So
he's back?
Yeah, so that's what I saw today. I think that's confirmed.
They played today. They played yesterday.
So let me confirm, because I think I saw that. I've only seen it in one place, so it could be a fake stat. NBA has reinstated
by NBA.
Yeah, after 12 game suspension.
Okay.
Which was today, so that happened today.
Okay. So they don't have to deal with that headache anymore, but you don't want to leave
See how long he lasts, though.
Well,
While we're looking at his rap sheet, he had 5 suspensions and 4 with this year or something.
So what? He's thrown a left hook. He's done a rear naked. So maybe a head kick's coming.
Yeah, head kick.
Head kick, I think, is the most likely next.
Triangle.
Yeah.
And that's still close to a choke, I suppose.
Yeah. Maybe a leg
Flying
lock.
knee.
Flying knee. Ooh, there's a good one.
Crucifix or something.
Yeah. Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren, flying knee. Whooper! Not much UFC on at the moment, so I've got to sneak him in there somehow.
They're talking about coming out of retirement, those two, to fight at UFC 300. Jeez.
Really?
Anyway, we'll get to that later.
You can hear about that in the final round. Jazz, I don't think will be there.
A team that,
Grizz is interesting. I think they've dug themselves too big a hole. Jar needs to look at that and think, I can't be doing dumb shit. My team actually really needs me. But also, I'm really good at basketball.
Yes.
The Grizzlies are 6-3 since his return. He's averaging 25, 8 and 5. And he's like,
If
Jaron Jackson is better when Ja Morant's there. Desmond Bain is better when Ja Morant is there.
I think with him out and no Brooks in that team anymore, they needed something, and to have him back has really helped the guys out.
It showed how important Brooks was to him last year as well.
I tend to agree. For all the hate he got at the end of the playoffs last year, I think you kind of see his value to that team. So if you estimate out their 6-3 of the last 10 over the rest of the season, so if they win 60% of their games,
they'd be playing.
They would make it. So so it's not out of unheard of. Like, we've got a whole bunch of teams there with negative records that all potentially could make it.
Yeah, they're 5 behind, but the thing is, they're 5 behind the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Rockets, Warriors, Lakers, Jazz, all on sort of 17 wins. So they've dug themselves a bit of a hole. And look, these days with the play-in tournament, you only have to get yourself to 10.
Yeah, you just need to punch your ticket, get in there, and then see how far you can go.
Having said that, it's hard from 9 and 10, but yeah, you just have to be there, don't you?
Yep.
But big sort of thing for Jar and he knows he's good at basketball. He's just got to sort out the sort of brain fart stuff. But
did he dunk over Victor during the week? So
he's got incredible hops for a guy that's 6'3".
Yeah, I think the game. I think he matched up with Giannis in the other game a couple of days ago as well, which was elite viewing. So hopefully we'll see that for many years to come. The big freak that is Victor going up against the Greek freak.
Let's talk a little bit of soccer. Pretty quiet, really, since last pod. There were New Year's games in the EPL. Monks will bring up a table. I've got a few sort of results there. United, she's hard viewing. Lost 2-1 to Not Forest. Shout out to Morgan Gibbs White with a late winner there. Arsenal dropped their last 2 games of 2023. It's very Arsenal to start well and start having a little bit of a slide.
A little bit of a wiggle.
So we'll see what happens there. It was a pretty scrappy goal, actually, from Fulham to get the 3 points in that one. Liverpool looked dangerous against Newcastle. They did concede 2, but they could have scored 6. They had a pen saved and scored one from an offside position. But we've got to talk about Aston Villa, boys. They're 3 points off Liverpool there. Granted, City do have a game in hand in third, but really looking likely to be playing Champions League football, the Villains at present. Mm-hmm. Arsenal, a bit of a slide, like we mentioned. They could be top of the table if they didn't drop those last 2, and they've only had 1 win from their last 5.
Yeah, tough feeling for them.
Spurs sitting there in 5th, and then a big drop down to West Ham, Brighton, United, Newcastle. Speaking of bad run, Newcastle's had a shit run. They've lost 4 from their last 5. Yeah, United, we spoke about a lot last pod. They've only won 1 from their last 5. And Chelsea clawing their way back. They are still 10th, but had a very ordinary start to the year.
I don't know much about it, but I know Tottenham might have some reinforcements coming. I think they announced today that I'm going to read it as Australian as Timo, but since he's German, I'm assuming that's not how they say his first name.
That's pretty close. I think his first name might be Timo Werner.
Timo Werner.
Yeah, so
he's coming across officially confirmed on loan to join the Hotspurs. There's a bit of I think he's winger forward for them.
Yep.
So
yeah, he's good. Right, he's got a lot of goals for Germany.
Yep,
Werner. He's played a fair bit for Chelsea. They've been banged up, so and doing as well as he can with the cattle that he's got.
So
he's been pretty good.
A couple of reinforcements will definitely help them.
Looking down to the bottom of the table, Everton, those 10 points lost really starting to hurt. They're in relegation danger, currently 17th.
So of their last 5, they've lost their last
3
on
the trot.
Yeah, and then whereas Luton's won, they're 2-1 in that same period. So they're kind of closing their gap there with a 1 point difference.
Luton were close to beating Chelsea after being 3-0 down in the last 10 minutes last weekend. They hit the bar twice, I think. Would have been some sort of comeback if they were able to do that. Yeah. And then Burnley and Sheffield look like they'll be going. Yeah, they're on 11 and 9 points respectively. It's a fun year, man. If you go up at the top there again. So Liverpool. Let's say Liverpool to United. So 1 to 8, there's 14 points that that separate it. Not saying that United can win the league. United can definitely play Champions League. They'd need to pull their
I feel like the top
finger out.
5 have cleared themselves from the next lot of guys.
Yep. And there's a 5-point spread there between Spurs and Hammers.
Yep. Yeah. So I think it'll be from those 5 we'll get a winner. But I think we haven't written it off. City haven't just completely won it this, and Arsenal were there last year and they're kind of still there, but we've got a few extra challenges, which I think is interesting. So we'll see how that plays out. It's interesting there. Liverpool only 1 loss so far.
Yep. 6 draws. Haven't been super clinical in putting teams away. Their defence has been good. They've only conceded 18 from 20 games. So if you're going at less than a goal a game, you're definitely doing something right.
Yeah. Arsenal's probably no goal difference, 4 goals against. They're probably anyone. None. They're all over 20. So in the top 5, I'm looking at there trying to see how it is, and they're definitely ahead of everyone on that list. So that's good.
Yep. That's why they're on top of the ladder.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Asian Cup
points win football games. Oh my god.
John Madden. See what they got to do here is score more points than the other team. Asian Cup starts next weekend. I think we've got India in the first game. So obviously Australia and India, we love talking about it in a cricket sense.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to go the Indians' way when it comes to soccer. Stranger things have happened.
Close or double digits? I was going to say triple. I was thinking triple doubles. Double digits.
I don't think we'll score 10. No. I think it will be 3 or 4 plus.
Okay.
Our group, we shouldn't really have any dramas. Uzbekistan have caused us issues in the past, and Syria, they're playing in Qatar. I don't think we'll go through with 9 points, but I think we will win the group.
Maybe a draw in there.
Yeah, throw a draw in there, and I don't think that will come against India. No. Just scroll down the groups there, Monks, if you wouldn't mind.
I have the groups there.
Yeah, Qatar and China, Tajikistan, Lebanon. Good luck to you two. Already went through ours, which is Group B. Iran, UAE, Hong Kong, Palestine. That's going to be a big thing for current geopolitical climate, and the fact that they're there is massive. So there'll be a fair bit of support, I'd imagine, for them. I don't see them getting out of the group, unfortunately. Japan, Indonesia, Iraq, Vietnam. Japan are the odds-on favourites to win the whole thing. Talking about 9 points before, I think Japan get 9 points in their group. And then Korea, Malaysia, Jordan, Bahrain. You'd think Korea get through pretty easily there. And then down to Group F, Saudi, Thailand, Kyrgyzstan, Oman. They've gone the expansion route, much like the Euros. Kind of different in the bottom end in the Euros compared to Asia. I don't know. For mine, maybe could have kept it at 16 teams. Might have been a bit more interesting. And you start thinking, I wonder how Tajikistan have fared recently in football.
Not well, but
Yeah.
So football, soccer at the moment, big viewership, lots of dollars. So, and especially in that part of the world at the moment,
These will be in all the same
exactly.
stadiums
they're
that we're
investing
using the World Cup.
Big money in it. So see if they get some returns on it.
Yeah.
Should we? We'll do a final round. We'll talk about that in the final round. What'd you say?
Yep.
Definitely.
Hit it.
Yep.
Not heaps of UFC other than a few announcements. Shauna, you want to take them away?
Yeah, well, officially on, I think it was New Year's Day, McGregor announced that his Michael Chandler fight has been confirmed. Not going to be UFC 300. It will be in June, but it's at middleweight, which is odd for two former, one's a former lightweight, the other one's a former featherweight / lightweight, fought at welterweight. Now to fight at welterweight, fight at middleweight is 4 divisions.
4th division for Conor Haynes.
Yeah, so, and if he gets a knockout, if he knocks Chandler out, no one's ever had a knockout in 4 different divisions, so it's crazy. I don't. If they allow him to juice the shit out of this, it's going to be interesting because they get to 185. They're going to be.
Well, you're not.
Because McGregor's 5'8" and Chandler's 5'7", 5'6". So, the smaller guys juiced out of their gills, carrying all the mass to go to 185 is going to be quite interesting. I don't, because the UFC has their change in drug policies coming up as well of who's actually going to be doing their testing. So I wonder when those loopholes will start. But it's an odd one. Essentially, to me, it means neither of them have to cut weight. They'll just come in as whatever natural weight they're at. By all accounts, that kind of means that McGregor's probably already over 170, and he's looking pretty huge from all the videos. So will Chandler struggle to get up to kind of a higher weight? Is that the advantage that McGregor has kind of paid for himself, just to be way bigger than Chandler? Who knows? But fun fight. Good to see them both back. It's been a while since their last ones. I think it's probably 2 years for McGregor. Since they got hurt against Dustin. I don't think he's been back since then.
I'll chase that up.
That was probably the biggest one. There's still
It's been 2.5, so it was July 21 since the Poirier fight, and they're not fighting until middle of the year, so it'll be 3 years between fights. Yep. He'll be he's 35.
Jeez.
He's 35 currently, Connor.
But another dude that's made $1 billion selling whiskey, so making all the money, not like he needs to do it. So, but he enjoys the competition.
What about Masvidal? He's coming out of retirement?
Yeah, that's the report's going to come out. It sounds like they're dangling the UFC 300 in front of him, potentially get on it. Ben Askren said, I'll come out of retirement and fight him at UFC 300. Ben's a bit old and has had a hip replacement recently. So
he's had a hip replacement?
Yeah. So after Jake Paul knocked him out, he had his hip replaced. So
that's right.
He 100% went out there to get sat down by Jake Paul. Like, he didn't throw the fight, but he knew how he was going out there to get himself knocked out and get paid. So because he was going to get his hip replaced like a couple of weeks later. Jorge's he's still 39, so he's old, but there's some fun fights there. There's been talk about the BMF belt, which Gaethje's got with I think Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz. Maybe they can find some fun fights for either of them. UFC 300 is going to have a whole bunch of things on them, but nothing official in that space yet.
Have you got the UFC 300 card up there amongst the announced fights? I thought I saw you had it.
Yeah, I think we covered. I don't think they've announced any since the last time we talked.
So it's still
3.
So it's Rakic, Prohaska, Kata, and Sterling, and Bo Nickel.
Taking on
Cody
Brundage, yeah.
So they're the 3 announced for UFC 300.
Yeah, so I think I saw something that said in the next week there's going to be a bunch more. They're going to build that card out. They're going to hype the Jesus out of it and fill it top to bottom. So
UFC is back next week after a few weeks off. It's a fight night, but I was looking at it before. Let me just get the card up. There's some good names on it. So UFC fight night next week. Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. Jim Miller's on the card. It's more sort of Andrei Arlovsky. There's a few names on it. It's fun-ish for a fight night card.
And then a couple of weeks away to Strickland, I think is the next one.
Yep, Strickland and
he's on Theo.
Not Faf.
Not Faf, we'll see. He's on Theo Von's podcast. Theo Von, a comedian. Doesn't have much to do with sport, but quite funny.
Funny dude.
Yeah, I think that podcast got a little emotional towards the end.
Yes, talking about child abuse, etc., especially for Sean growing up. Pretty intense stuff. So a bit emotional, especially when UFC fighter starts getting a bit emotional. It's some serious shit.
Yep. Volk as well, not that far away. That's 6 weeks until Volk and Tapuria.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of Aussies on that card as well.
Tied to Ivasa.
Pretty sure I saw a video of Tua getting stuck into.
I can see. Yeah.
Pretty sure I saw a video of Ty Tuivasa getting stuck into Paul Kent at some pub. So.
Yes, that did happen. You can do your own research on that.
Check that out yourselves.
Yep. If I'm Paul Kent, I'm going. Yep. See you later. Yep, no worries. Have a nice night there, Ty.
Boxing fun coming up. So Fury Uztek has been confirmed for Undisputed. So February 17th, that is happening.
Wow.
So not too far away from that.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. And then since Joshua doesn't have a dance partner now, that Wilder got knocked. He lost. He didn't get knocked out. unanimous decision loss to Parker. They've gone the Francis Ngannou route. So Ngannou's got Fury, then Joshua, which is crazy to think. They'll fight March 9th, which was the day that had been confirmed for the Wilder fight originally. So I'm pretty sure that's in Saudi Arabia for that. So that's going to be another pretty interesting fight in the heavyweight division. Be interesting to see what Francis can do against a fighter that's, say, more prepared than Fury was. Fury probably just came in that a bit of light training. So we'll see how Fury looks like against Uzcek. But the heavyweight division, as it has been since last year, has been fun, been interesting. Some names there starting to float around and to push.
Yeah, definitely. As a boxing casual, the heavyweight over the last few years has been awesome, and now the fact that the former UFC heavyweight king is out there and definitely held his own against Fury.
Yeah,
that's pretty fun.
Making Dana look silly that saying things like he was never going to make his money outside the UFC. I think he's all good.
I think so too. Naoya Inoue, he's a two-weight undisputed champion.
Yep, so he got his second weight division as undisputed champion. I think it's the first time I think Terence Crawford did it recently, but he first in a while.
He's number one pound for pound.
Yeah, I believe he's also pound for pound number one at the moment after his win last week. So an absolute dominant champion with an incredible record. People are trying to throw out fun fights for him, but the challenge, of course, is the weight divisions. He's
managed two of them now.
Yeah, well, and he's a lot lower than saying there's other guys like if we talk Crawford or we talk Canelo, etc. He's they got 30 pounds on him, sort of thing. So yeah, but in his divisions, he's absolute dominant. What have you got there for rankings?
Boxing pound for pound.
So that's got Crawford there.
So this is going to be classic. Boxing thing where it's
half of them will have Crawford.
What are you reading kind of thing?
Yeah, so you had it there. Half of them have
Crawford.
Most of them got Crawford there.
All of them
got Crawford. And then
so anyways, two according to most.
Yeah, and then
Usyk 3, Canelo 4. He's at and some of them got him a bit lower. Yeah, interesting. Hey, who's the highest Aussie on that list? No one.
I don't think we have one.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if
so it's only top tens. Yeah. So you have to be in the top 10, which no one is pound for pound.
No.
Don't worry, that's all good. A little bit of rugby league. We've just chucked it in here in a bit of a mishmash of a final round. So it's finally official. Jerome Luai, we've been speculating for the last month, but he is a Tiger come 2025.
Correct.
So weird.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's very NRL, but anyway.
Hey, look, money talks, and this is the third time we've spoken about it, but he's achieved everything that I
just the whole concept that it's 2025.
Yeah, he's going to play a whole season.
2025. Sorry, yeah.
I got what Monks was putting.
Yeah, that's rugby league in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I feel like there's already been all the rumours about swap deals, getting him out early and getting him over to the Tiger League.
Certainly could happen.
We'll see what happens between now and the start of the season, which is I guess 3 months away, March.
Yeah, that's like 2 because it's mid-March. Caught 2. It's fun, Vegas. Yep. Justin Olam, the Tigers.
Confirmed joining the Tigers from the Storm, I think, at the moment. So going up there.
And Dragons signed a young Warriors bloke, Volkman, who is a half, and they may be looking at solving the Ben Hunt void, hopefully, at the end of this season, which he's contracted for as a Dragons fan.
Yeah, all the reports of not great for you guys as Dragons fans. All the reports I've been seeing is about how they've missed out on all the free agents and they've kind of had to get the B and C tiers of guys and trying to put a roster together. So hopefully they can avoid this boot.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bit of a different yarn that we're having to a month ago when it was like, oh yeah, we're going to get Joseph Manu. We're also getting Nathan and Ivan Cleary of Per Reports. We
got nothing
exactly. Anyways, always used to say thank God for the Tigers, but they might be coming up.
Yes, they might be on a ascendancy. We'll see.
Yep.
This time of the year, down under, you got to think tennis. So
Brisbane International, I think.
Brisbane International. We saw Rafa getting beat by that Thompson fella. He had a bit of a sore hip, which is the one that he just had operated on.
I think Joker lost to the Demon as well.
Oh, yeah.
So some Aussies there with a bit of form. But when it matters, when the Aussie Open comes around, it'll be interesting. I'm actually
Is that final tonight for the Brisbane International?
It'll be very close because the Open starts in like a week and a half, doesn't it?
Next week.
Next week, yeah.
A week today it starts, and it's a Sunday, so unless it was last night. Yeah, see if you can get
They had no, they were playing doubles and things today. This afternoon.
7th.
Yeah, so there you go. Dimitrov, I think I saw.
Yeah,
Oh.
you just got too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat Holger Rune. There you go, as of today. And the girls, I did see this last night. Rybakina beat Sabalenka. Very good. So, yeah, it's the 2 weeks of the year where we've become tennis experts all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised Nadal was going around again. I thought
He hasn't been playing. He had surgery.
I thought he was kind of going into retirement.
37?
Mark, click on it. Click it. Beat him.
No.
37.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. It's all in here, bruh.
Yeah.
I don't need no
You don't need me.
No, we do need you. Welcome back. We've missed you. Golf's back. They're playing in Hawaii. I'll be up in the morning watching some NFL, watching a bit of golf.
Yeah, I don't think he played much at all last
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
He
he had
had
surgery,
no tournament wins. So
He had surgery. He's pretty much sat a lot of it. Any final notes?
No.
No.
That's it.
I think that's it.
You're saying Cam Green back in the side and reshuffle. I'm going to go Cam Bancroft.
When does that test start, by the way?
10 days. It's a Wednesday, so not this week. It's
Yeah, I think I saw this. 17th. Yeah,
Yep.
it was, 10 days.
17th. And
I think Cam Green as well, but I'll throw Renshaw in there as well.
I like a team player. That's like when we used to do picks for games on this, and we're like, there's an obvious favourite.
Okay, well, we'll take the
I'll
wild
go
card.
the underdog.
Yeah, might as well. You get an occasional win.
Yeah.
So next 24 hours, we'll know the NFL playoffs. Next 48 hours, we've got a college football championship.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that T20 game that was going went to rain as well, so may not have finished.
Bloody East Coast. Eh?
Oh, no, they'll come back. What do they need?
So,
A lot.
Yeah.
57.
Heat are going to win that by the
30,
looks. Unless we can see some Tim David magic, who's been underwhelming in this big bash. Right, thanks for anyone that's joined us for the first podcast of 2024. It was
Yes.
very cricket heavy.
It
We do
was.
love our cricket. There's a good.
There
if any
is a
time-
lot on at the moment.
Yeah, if there's any time to talk about cricket, it's certainly at the end of a test match, at the end of a career of in my opinion, the second best test opener in Australian cricket history.
Big year coming up. So we've got T20 World Cup.
Yep, American
NFL
market.
finals, of course.
That's this week.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
your playoffs are coming up, Super Bowl, etc. What else is on the ticket for this year?
The Olympics.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
sport.
Olympics. Yeah.
India at the end of the year
Yep.
in terms of cricket. Dragons win their first premiership since 2010. I woke up from a coma. The year's 2070.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it.
They won one premiership at that time.
Shit. All right. Thanks to those that have
Thank you very
checked
much.
it out. If you're here for the first time, we do have socials. Check them out. Facebook, Instagram,
Et cetera.
and the likes. All right. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, I think. Chat then. Have a nice week if you're back to work.